Glendale HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local with Matt Rooney on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Welcome back, old friends, new frenemies, and all who lie somewhere in between on the spectrum. I am Matt Rooney. This is the Matt Rooney Show on 1210 WPHT, coming to you every Sunday evening from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard. And not just on the radio anymore, streaming live on YouTube over at our 1210 YouTube page. That's youtube.com/@ 1210 WPHT, and I'd like to say that I'm happy to announce, but I have slightly mixed feelings about it. Tonight, I think I'm in HD, or something pretty close to it.
Yes.
And they say the camera adds 5-10 pounds, producer Dan. I think that this camera that you purchased is adding a little bit more than that, so I want you to take it back and get another one. I'm looking a little bloated.
Well, have you know, it's not mine. It's not my camera. It is the station's camera. So they are the ones who put it in. So therefore, you were going to have to bring it up with the station and not me.
Okay, well, likely story. You look way better than I do.
You think so?
Yeah. Yeah, you
Thank
do.
you.
I think this lighting. I still think the lighting in here needs to be improved. I'm in darkness. I'm in shadow. And being a crusader for truth and justice, someone who takes things out of the shadows and brings them into the light.
Batman.
So that I am kind of like Batman.
No, well, you're not, but Batman.
I am.
Yeah.
Oh, well, what would make me more like Batman? If I had a cute tattoo like you?
No, I think if you had the cute little horns.
How do you know I don't?
I've seen you.
I'm just hiding them under these luscious locks that I have.
If that's what you want to call it.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen. When you get to be about 40 and you still have all your hair, that's something in of itself to celebrate, my friend.
There you go.
You'll find out soon enough.
I still have all my hair.
855-839-1210, by the way, is our number if you want to call and participate. Well, you're 22. Having all your hair isn't that much of an accomplishment.
Yeah. Good point.
You almost graduate. I know that you're about ready to graduate from college, and therefore you believe that you know everything.
No.
Because we know that college graduates, that's what the college experience is about. You go, you take some classes, you now know more than all of your predecessors, and you're ready to go out there and take on the world and change it, revolutionize it, possibly radicalize it. I won't be there to see you graduate because breaking news.
Oh, here we go.
Here on the Matt Rooney Show.
Here we go. 7:03, and we're going to start beef.
Yeah, we're gonna start a beef.
Here we go.
I've been disinvited from producer Dan's graduation party. I'm not making that up. You heard it.
You're not.
I was invited, which I thought was very nice, by Dan to come to his graduation ceremony. And whatever he and his family were doing afterwards, getting together, sharing a meal at a nice restaurant. And it began to unravel when Dan said I think it was during last week's program, oh, well, we only have so many tickets, so why don't you just meet us at the restaurant?
Yeah.
And I said, okay, that's probably easier for Jackie and I anyway because we have to get a babysitter and all this nonsense, so that's fine. We'll just meet you at dinner. I'll skip the ceremony. Then, we're not doing that anymore. We're not going to the restaurant. Plans have changed.
Correct.
So you're off the hook. Again, you made it. You did a great job of sandwiching your bad news between two loaves of positivity.
There was a positive at the end of the story.
To make me think that, like, oh, this is a good thing that was happening. When in reality, I don't know whether or not it's because you're embarrassed of me. I don't know if it's because someone in your family has a beef with me. I don't know what's going on, why this has happened, but I just think our listeners need to know about it.
Well, you're leaving out a lot of the story. Okay, so
which part of the story am I leaving out?
You're leaving out a part of the story. So yes, that what you said is true. But then my mother and I decided, hey, we're gonna stick with the whole dinner thing afterward. So if you still want to come to dinner, you're more than welcome to.
I don't want charity here. I don't.
It's
want there
not
to be,
charity. We talked about it, and I'd rather take the graduation money than a party.
Oh, you think you're still getting a check from me?
No, it's not from you. It's from my mother.
Oh, your mother's graduation money.
Yeah, it was either I'd take money from graduation Or she throws me a party.
Okay, because unless I'm invited to something, you're not getting anything from me. It even drives me nuts when they do these coin drops. You all know what I'm talking about. You're going to see them this time of year. When your local Little League, softball team, whatever, standing in the middle of traffic with a bucket asking for money. Give me something. Sell me a soft pretzel.
No. That's not what
I want. It doesn't have to be anything great, but give me something for my money. This is kind of the same thing. You want a gift from me, but you don't want to invite me anywhere and give me even a cheeseburger.
No, I'm saying you don't have to go to the walk because one, I don't have enough tickets. They're only giving us 6. But if you and your lovely Jacqueline would still like to go out afterward, you are more than welcome to.
All right, well, I'll have to talk to Jacqueline because I already told her, listen, we no longer have an invitation to Dan's graduation, so don't worry about getting a babysitter. And she asked me what was wrong, and then I did the best I could in between my uncontrolled sobs to explain what happened.
Yeah, okay, now you can tell her, hey, Dan and I are friends again, so.
All right, well, let's not use
but there was
that's awful strong.
No, but there was
friends.
a reason. There was a reason on why you thought I uninvited you. And I think you need to tell the people why you think that I uninvited you because this is just a heinous reason. Everything about this reason is just heinous.
Hey. What do you look at you going and dropping the
heinous.
$100 vocabulary words. What I just said what the reason was. I just said what the reason was. You want everything for nothing. You want your cake and you want to eat it too.
That's ridiculous. My mother just texted me saying now she feels bad, so you should go just for that.
Now I do feel a little guilty because I have no problem busting your chops as our listeners. I don't want to make your mother feel bad.
If it makes you feel better, I also invited the morning show, so Anthony and Nick are going.
Oh, well, that makes me feel a little guilty, too.
So that means, you were the first one I invited, so.
So which part is Nick Cale going to?
He's only going to the afterward.
He's going to the afterward?
Yeah, no one from the station is going to the actual walk. The walk is just for family.
Well, now I have to go because you're on 2 shows.
Correct.
And if he's the only host that goes, then I'm the one that didn't.
Right. And then it makes you look bad like, wow, he is the show. First person he asked, he didn't go, you know?
This is, you what kind of situation this is?
Tell me.
This is heinous.
It is heinous.
This is a heinous situation.
No. But there's another reason. You're going to tie something into this on why you thought you got uninvited.
What is this secret reason? I don't remember saying this.
You did. You said it off air. So you said.
Well, see, then that's always so convenient of you.
Right.
Oh, he said it off air.
I told you.
It's not written. It's not in any way recorded. It's not FCC regulated. So who knows whether or not this is even the truth? But go ahead, counselor. Yeah. What did I allegedly say?
So you thought that you were uninvited because of a new chippy in my life.
Oh, I did say this.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah. No, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, which, I think says something else about your priorities. Right? Like, I want you. So let's back up for a second because we may have some new listeners this evening. So Dan is relatively recently single.
Yeah.
Relatively recently single. And he's out on the town again. After taking some time to stay at home. I don't know what he was doing, probably re-listening to my show, playing Dungeons & Dragons. I don't know what he was up to, but it was kind of a little sad for a while. It got so bad that he even wanted to grab a beer with me, and I'm like, oh, all right.
I don't think I offered that, but continue.
No, you did. You wanted to hang out, and I kind of, I don't know.
Don't know if I said that.
I'm a little busy collecting stamps or watching my grass grow. But now you're back out there. And last week it was revealed on the program that you were out with not one, but 2 young ladies at the same time.
No, not at the same time. Now that's just fake news. That's fake news.
So you went from the absolute, nadir of your existence in terms of your social life to a few weeks later, 2 women at once out on the town.
No, it wasn't 2
And now
at
I
once.
find out that one of these young ladies was out with you again this past weekend.
Yes.
So clearly she's taking my spot at the table. It's going to be you, her, Nick Cale, having a great time.
Well, no, she's not going.
She's not going?
No.
Well, why isn't she going?
It's still like a fresh thing.
It's a fresh thing?
Fresh thing. You know, I don't, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. So no, I don't think she's going at this current moment.
Could that evolve?
I mean, plans.
Because we're still about a month away, right?
No, we're like 2 weeks away.
Is it 2 weeks away?
Well, no, we're like 3.
3 weeks away.
Yeah.
So 3 is 1 week
No,
short of a month.
2. Yeah, no, 3. Yeah, 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a math major. You're not getting a math degree.
No, thank God I'm not. No. Thank God I'm not.
Yeah. Well, look, if this develops over the course of the next 3 weeks and you want to tell me I can't come, then I can.
No, this is like, it's saying for the whole world.
Because we all know that, Nick Cale is not going to have to give up his spot. It'll have to be me.
No, I'm saying this on air now. So
All right.
Quote me.
Okay. People are quoting you.
You are more than welcome to go to the after party. Not really a party. It's more just boozing.
Just boozing.
Alcohol is on you, though.
That's fine.
Yeah, okay. Just wanted to preface that. You're like, oh, I'm not going anymore.
No, look, unlike some people, I have no problem paying my own way. I have no problem showing up by myself and my lady, the lovely Jacqueline, a drink. And I'm not expecting that to be. Look, if it was on you, I would have no qualms at all about adding it to the group tab. But I wouldn't want to do that to your mother if she's paying for this. Your mother's a lovely woman, and she works hard for her money. Wouldn't do that to her. You,
I work hard for my money too.
Yeah, but it's you. So I don't feel bad.
Awesome.
Well, it's the whole I like your mom thing, right? I'm a fan of your mother.
Yeah, glad we got that situated.
Yeah. So let's review here, and for anybody that's new to the show, they're thinking, hey, they're gonna talk about Joe Biden at any point here? Is there any
at some point?
Is there any conservatism here? I promise you, we talk about politics on the Matt Rooney Show, but generally I'm much more interested in torturing Dan and finding out what's going on in his relationship and prying uncomfortably into his personal life. Although I doubt whatever 20-year-old young lady he took out the other night is listening to this program. I highly doubt it. Or I don't know, is she?
No.
Did you tell her what you do? Or July?
Did
you make something up, say, I work for Greenpeace?
No, I told her that I was a radio producer, but I don't usually tell people what station. Because I know that's going to be a conversation I really don't want to have.
I have heard that from other single people. I have a friend, he may be listening tonight, a little bit older than you, but not a whole heck of a lot older than you, single. There are apparently young women on these dating apps, and you confirm or deny this, who screen for conservative men. Say, hey, listen, if you're a Trump voter, if you're a conservative, you need not apply.
Yes, 100%.
That's accurate?
Yes. When I have been on them, I'm no longer on them anymore, but when there were, they said, if you're a Trump supporter or a conservative, swipe left. And I would just swipe right just to peeve them off. They don't know that because I don't say what my political affiliation is in my bios, but yes, there are screeners out there for liberals only. Liberalonlymeet.com.
How sad is that?
And
you could be missing out on meeting a perfectly wonderful young man such as yourself by your lack of openness to somebody who doesn't have the same exact worldview that you do. But apparently it's endemic, and you've just confirmed it for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're out there.
Wow. I'm glad I'm past that part of my existence, that's for sure. I did the dating app thing for a short time.
Dating apps are around?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, it involved a carrier pigeon and smoke signals. But
what, Match.com?
Yeah, I did the Match.com back in the day. That's true. I did.
Did you have any luck?
That's where I met my wife.
Oh, look at that.
I actually, the new old-fashioned way. We actually thought about emailing them and seeing if we could get them to pay for our wedding or something. Because we're decent-looking people. She's better looking than I am, but,
I didn't know you guys met on a
commercial. Yeah, absolutely.
Look at that.
But we did it in our circumstances, she's not originally from this part of the world. So she had come to this part of the world. She was looking to meet somebody. I happened to be on there. Sparks flew. The rest is history. 2 kids and a lot of debt later. Here we are.
That's adorable.
Yeah, it is adorbs, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
Hey, why is my screen not working, by the way?
I will come in there and I will.
No, this is.
It is. Now try it.
Because I just want to be clear about something. Last week, I didn't have the right screen pulled up.
Now you do.
I did, And I had the correct screen, and I hit one of my hotkeys, and nothing happened. That was the second time.
Correct, because I didn't have it on.
Okay, but that was not on me. That was on you.
So try it again.
Is this because you're so distracted by your new love match?
I don't know
This
if
young lady, what's her name? We're just going to come up with the name for her. Gertrude.
I don't know if you know this.
Is this because of Gertie?
I don't know if you know this, but I'm running the show and I'm running the YouTube stream at the same time. So I got a lot to do right now. I got a lot.
Look, in the off chance she is listening or she's going to listen to this at some point, nobody likes a braggart.
I'm not bragging at all.
Just do a good job and let it speak for itself.
Hit your hotkeys.
That's my advice to you.
Hit your hotkeys.
How does that sound?
How does that sound?
I fixed it.
All right, well, there you go. Well, congrats for doing your job.
Thank you. That's all I needed from you.
You what I'm looking for.
Huh.
That's all the validation you needed.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go outside and have a catch with you?
Yeah, actually.
All right, let's go. At the break, we're going to take a little longer break than usual, play some extra commercials. I'm going to go outside, toss the ball around with Dan.
Yeah.
And give him the validation that he needs. I'll tell you what I am looking forward to at this graduation dinner.
Yeah.
Assuming I can go now.
Yeah, you.
Because I've been
yes,
jerked,
you are. Yes.
Because I've been jerked around, so I don't know.
Everyone's been jerked around.
Nick Kale, our intrepid morning host during the week here at the station, and myself busting your chops simultaneously.
I can take it.
Oh, my God. You're not going to be able to sit down for a week, bub.
Oh, don't worry. I can take it. If you're going to roast me, at least buy me a drink, you know?
Well, we'll see.
Oh, okay.
We'll see. 855-839-1210, by the way, once again, is the number. And if you are listening tonight on 1210 WPHT and you say to yourself, good God, he sounds attractive. I need to see.
You should see him.
I need to see whether what actually exists out there in the universe is as good looking as what I'm hearing on air. Well, now you have a way to find out. You can go to youtube.com/at 1210 WPHT. You can watch me live. You can also see producer Dan on the producer cam, which, again, he's got much better lighting than I do. I look like I'm broadcasting from a cave, and I think it's deliberate. He makes himself look better than me, and I'm going to look into this. There's going to be several strongly worded emails, but tonight we're just going to go with it.
You can adjust the lighting.
And we got, well, I know the little knobs over there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try it once we have our commercial break here,
Well.
and I'm gonna see if it improves the situation.
Okay.
But you can see it just the same as I can. I'm in shadow. People need to see me, Dan.
Okay. What do you want me to do about that?
Well, you could have turned the knob up when you came in here.
Nah. I think the lighting's fine.
I can see about as much of Matt as I want to. That's what that actually is.
Lighting's fine in there. I'm not in there, so I don't really care.
Somebody's a little lippy this evening. There's a little bit of heat between Dan and I.
There's no heat.
This week. There's a little heat.
You just made it heat. You want to take my problems and turn it into a bit, a radio bit.
No, I'm not talking about your problems. I'm talking about the disinvitation.
Exactly. You want to turn it into a bit.
How's that your problem?
How's that your problem?
I mean, it's your problem now that you got to work with me and I'm hurt.
I invited you back. I don't know what you want.
Oh, well, yeah, that works. Why don't you try that? Why don't you try that with your new love interest? Why don't you say, hey, listen, sorry, I got something better to do on Saturday night, and call her back up and say, oh, you know what? The better thing canceled. Let's go out.
I've done that before.
It is
I've done that before.
a complete mystery why you're single, my man.
I've done that before. I have made plans with someone, and then I said, wait, never mind. I can't go out anymore. And then those plans canceled. I was like, hey, by the way, I'm actually now free. You want to go out again? I'm like, yeah.
That's disgusting.
So, yeah.
You're a terrible human being.
Okay, well, they still went out. So who's the real winner here?
Terrible. Well,
it's me.
Definitely not me for the next 3 hours this evening here on 1210 WPHD. But fear not. We have plenty of interesting content ahead that goes well beyond Dan's dating life. We're going to talk about Alec Baldwin's charges being dropped. I have some perspective you may want to hear on Clarence Thomas, and there's a New Jersey tie-in. There always is a New Jersey tie-in. We're going to talk about Republicans, neoconservatism, and where the party's going. We're going to talk about Hunter Biden. We're going to talk about an interesting Fetterman admission. We try to fit more into this program than the CDC says is safe to fit into a 3-hour program. But strap on your mask if you're risk-adverse, and we're going to have a great time anyway here on The Matt Rooney Show. Quick break, then we kick this show off in just a moment.
Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Say this. I don't want to belabor the whole graduation thing all night, but I need to get this out there. So Margaret, who I know is a listener, Margaret, hope you're having a good evening. My friend out there in Twitter land says Nick and Anthony were also invited to get together after graduation, which we know that because you said that, Dan. Should be a good drinking session. Dawn upset. I guess she is not invited.
Well, there was here's the deal.
Did you not invite Dawn Stenslin?
So here's the deal. I texted Anthony and Nick just to see if they would be invited.
All right.
The reason why I did not text Greg and Dawn, Greg would say no. Greg would say no, and just Dawn would not answer my text. So the invite is open. They are more than welcome to come out if they do choose. I will tell them in person, but I did not text them because I knew none of them would answer me.
Well, I give Greg Stocker credit for his characteristic directness. Nah, man, that doesn't sound fun. Sorry.
Well, Greg just doesn't go out in general.
He doesn't go out at all?
He probably goes out, but
I mean, he does keep terrible hours.
Not with us, so.
He's going out with someone, just not with you guys.
It's probably his wife.
Okay,
but
I just wanted to make sure that you still weren't beefing with Dawn over her dissing our show.
No, I'm not.
Because we want to put that baby to bed. We know, again, for those of you that listen to the program, I guess it was, a week or so ago now.
Yeah.
Dawn's made fun of us for being a weekend show.
I'm not beefing with her.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because look, we're the big ones in this whole thing.
If
we get over that kind of stuff.
If they would like to join, they are more than welcome to join, and I'll tell them when it gets closer.
All right.
They would. Also, first YouTube comment on the stream coming from Marshall Siegel.
Okay. Hi, Marshall.
Is producer Dan a hipster? If not, he does a great impersonation of one. Impression. And he said, The hair, facial and otherwise, the glasses, and devil may care attitude.
Devil may care.
So
It's all an act.
I guess I'm a hipster now.
You look hipsterish.
Do I?
Yeah, and people, since we've been doing the producer cam, folks I know that listen to the program have been surprised by the producer cam because they did not.
How dashing good looking I am.
Well, let's not get crazy, but they thought you would look different.
I don't know how they expect me to look, but
well, I think they have this idea of what a young nerd working at a conservative radio show sounds like and looks like.
My name is Chad, and I'm a conservative.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, not a dashing,
They
good
expect you
looking.
to look like Chad.
Not a dashing, good looking man.
Young Latino.
Latino. That's right. Cubano.
Are you Cuban?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
1/8.
I never asked you, what your Latino heritage is.
Yeah.
You are our Latinx representative here on the Matt Rooney Show. We brandish your credentials on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You're Cubano.
Yeah.
Did I do that? Cubano?
Cubano.
Cuban.
Yeah.
Cuban.
That's a fine.
Cubano.
That's fine.
All right. Well, you know that I'm serious about this kind of stuff. I want to make sure that I am not insulting you or triggering you or in any way making you feel, what's that millennialism? Less than? I don't want to make you feel less than, Dan.
I always feel less than, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, we don't have enough time to go into all that. We have to have a show tonight. 855-839-1210 is the number. You can call in and you can talk about Dan and his feelings and also my feelings. We're an open book here on the program, but we do have some other stuff to get to. We have serious business here on the Matt Rooney Show because we review the week that is past to prepare you for the week ahead. That's how it works. That's what we do here on the weekend, and we have the benefit of that perspective.
Lucy Liu on YouTube said, "Don't you know I found the show she is on from our show."
Lucy Liu, if we had a T-shirt, I would send you a free one.
We don't have T-shirts.
We've workshopped a couple. Funky Liar, Water Snob.
Yep.
We're going to get on. Maybe this summer. We'll finally get some kind of shop going. We probably have to run that by 16 layers of Odyssey bureaucracy. I don't know how exactly that would work, but so if we start working on it this summer, maybe by 4th of July 2024,
it'll be up and running.
We'll have our show.
Yeah.
We'll have our store rather.
Yeah.
So, okay. All right. Well, Lucy Liu, we will send you a shirt probably in about a year and a half. It's about all I can do for her, Dan.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to do anything, but that's cool.
Well, don't be rude to people when they're being nice to us. Now, I hope you also carry that back to the weekday show. The next time we come up, say, hey, listen, some of our listeners are finding the weekday programming because of the good work we do on the Matt Rooney Show.
Correct. We promote all shows.
Yeah, you got to brag on us. We're team players here on Sunday nights. Bigly.
Yeah.
Speaking of people doing their job, and regardless of whether or not it's being done well, Mr. Fetterman.
Fetterperson.
Fetterwoman. I don't know how you define Fetterwoman. But Fetterman admits. You gotta love this stuff. He admits that he was not the kind of senator Pennsylvanians deserved when he was hospitalized. No kidding. This is from our friends over at Fox News. So, this is apparently an NPR interview. Is that right?
Yeah.
They spoke to Senator Fetterwoman about his time he spent away from Congress, which lasted a few months. And he admitted that. He said he was not the kind of senator that the state deserved and that he should have been. He also noted, this is according to Fox, some of the advice doctors gave him to treat his depression, including staying away from news and social media. Not that I am here to in any way defend social media, because God knows time on social media will chip away at your sanity little by little over the course of time. But when you're a United States Senator, when you're a member of Congress, staying away from news not really an option. That's kind of like a broker being advised to, hey, you know what? Don't pay attention to the stock market. Hey, doc, don't read any medical journals. It's such a pathetic joke. The man is a pathetic joke. And do we have the clip of him from the hearing this past week?
His committee opening?
His committee hearing. Yeah, so he's back. He arrived at the Capitol building maybe about a week ago for a photo op. And of course, he continues to be dressed like a meth addict in his gym shorts and his hoodie, which is, don't even try to defend this to me. I know some of you were tempted. I am not the world's most formal person in my dress, especially since being a lawyer, I have to wear a suit a lot during the week. So,
oh, you're a lawyer?
Listen to me. Listen to me, Daniel. We've got a long show to get through tonight. We got a lot we got to cover. So your lip is not appreciated.
Something.
We're in the middle of a segment.
Thank you.
We're in the middle of a segment. Yes, we are. I'm channeling my Greg Stocker.
Apparently, he went to the Senate or wherever he was and said his reaction was a big smile and said, "I've really missed being here for the 2 days that he was there."
Right. I mean, he's been there as much as I have because I went on a grade school field trip to the Capitol building.
Yep.
I've spent more time in the Capitol building than John Fetterman before he came back this week. So he walks in looking like a meth addict, and at some point he chairs a committee hearing because, hey, let's take somebody that can barely remember his name or what he had for breakfast on a daily basis and put him in charge of a congressional committee. Guess what happened? Listen to this.
I call to this hearing of the U.S. Senate Subcommittee on Food and Nutrition, Specialty Crops, Organics, and Research to order. Chairwoman Stabenow.
Morning.
And Ranking Member Boozman, thank you so much for coming. I thank you for your leadership on this committee, and I look forward to working with you to pass a farm bill. A farm bill that works for small farmers, rural communities, and hungry Americans. I would also like to thank my ranking member, Senator Braun. And I look forward to working closely with you. SNAP is one of the most effective programs to fight hunger and poverty in the country. In my time and effort in IFAS, as the mayor of Braddock to lieutenant governor to now, I have heard from Pennsylvanians about
Do you
their
say
support
IFAS
for
or ISIS?
SNAP.
What do you want him to say?
I don't think either answer is good.
Here, we'll back it up.
Yeah.
In my time and effort in IFAS.
IFAS.
Whatever that is.
Is that like a special subdivision of ISIS or something that's based at the Eiffel Tower? Probably dangerous to think too deeply into any of this.
The International Food Information Service.
Aha, okay.
All right, shall we continue?
Yeah, let's listen.
Their support for SNAP. Hunger is not a Republican or a Democrat issue. It's all of our issue that we have to take it on.
And everyone's watching him.
We need
during
to
the
come
silence.
together and stop playing political games with Americans' access to food. Americans like about Chloe Jor from the north to the
I'm sorry, what?
about Chloe Jor from the north
Chlorjor?
about Chloe Jor from
Chlorjor.
Chlorjor. You
The
know
mouth.
Chlorjor. He got an invite to your graduation party before I did. Good old Chlorjor.
Yeah, he was a good friend of mine, actually.
Yeah.
Chlorjor was a great friend. I knew him personally, so that's why he got invited and you didn't.
Yeah, he's all right.
to the town of Northeast in Pennsylvania. He tells me that his victim was skimming, which was when somebody stole money and he relied from its SNAP EBT. Mr. Jor is not the first Pennsylvanian I've heard this from. I fear he won't be the last. And I will work in this farm bill to modernize SNAP to work to recipients in the 21st century. I look forward to hearing from you, your witness on this nutrition assistance on the farm bill, and I will now turn to Senator Braun for any opening comments that he would like to make.
You know what he sounds like? He
What?
sounds like, you remember popcorn reading in like elementary school?
Yeah.
Yeah, he sounds like when you get called on to popcorn read like unexpectedly, and you're like, the big brown dog went under the hill. Sounds like someone that does a reading for the first time unexpectedly.
You know who he reminds me of? And I don't know if you have it or if you can find it quickly. Do you remember many years ago that young lady who was participating in a beauty pageant? And she was given one of those classic beauty pageant, what would you do to make the world a better place, or what's the number one problem facing the planet? And she just barfed out this word salad that made absolutely no sense.
Was it 2007?
It sounds about right. It was about that long ago.
Okay.
I want to say she was from South Carolina or something
Okay,
like
so then
that.
yes, this is it.
Yeah. This is about the level that John Fetterman is working on.
Recent polls have shown a fifth of Americans can't locate the U.S. on a world map. Why do you think this is?
I personally believe that U.S. Americans are unable to do so because some people out there in our nation don't have maps, and I believe that our education, such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere such as, and I believe that they should, our education over here in the U.S. should help the U.S. or should help South Africa and should help the Iraq and the Asian countries, so we will be able to build up our future.
We got to help South Africa.
Yeah. So fun fact, that young lady, the love child of Kamala Harris and John Fetterman. Completely reasonable explanation, right?
Oh, did she win that year? I hope not. No, she didn't.
She didn't. Bless her heart. Bless her heart. She fell short. She didn't grab the brass ring. But this is what represents you, Pennsylvania.
Tennessee won, if you were wondering.
Tennessee won?
Miss Tennessee won Miss USA in 2007.
Well, we'll have to find her speech at some point. And find out what she was
Hey,
doing.
y'all, I like, saddle riding and rootin' tootin', line dancing.
It's Tennessee, not Texas.
Like the same thing.
What do you mean they're like that? You know what a coastal elitist you are. This is the same thing, all flyover country.
No, that's
shame on you.
No, that's Martha's Vineyard. I'm here in Martha's Vineyard.
Tennessee is a wonderful state.
Have you ever been there?
No, but
Okay.
I imagine it's a
You
wonderful
can't.
state with wonderful people. I know people from Tennessee.
So do I. Nick Hale.
That's right. Yeah, Nick Hale, right? You got invited to your graduation party before me.
No,
That's how passionate you are about Tennessee.
you got invited, and then I invited him. So,
All right. Well, the chronology is a little
Anyway, John Fetterman.
mixed up.
John Fetterman is a little mixed up. You're right.
Well, it's disturbing, right?
Nick, just in. Tennessee and Texas are the same thing. You are correct. Coming from our Tennessee correspondent, Nick Gale. So they're the same thing.
Wait, what are you talking about?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
What do you mean? Who says this?
Nick Hale just told me. He just texted me.
Oh, Kale, he's listening and he texted you?
I guess he said Tennessee
Okay.
and Texas are the same thing. Nashville and Austin, the same
This
things.
is all one massive conspiracy.
It's not a conspiracy.
You're in on it. Anthony's in on it. Nick's in on it. Your mom's probably in on it. I'm not sure how much I like your mom anymore. You're all working against me here.
You're right.
I'm getting a little conspiratorial.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I'm like one step away from biting the top off of pill bottles like Nixon in here.
Go for it.
They're all against me, Henry. They're all against me.
These are Democrats.
855-839-1210 is the number should you wish to call in and participate on this evening's Matt Rooney Show. I think we have to take another break, right?
Yep.
We got to play some ads, make some money, because unlike John Fetterman, we have to show up at our job and do work and make money to actually survive. Must be nice to not have to do that, but that's what we do proudly every weekend, Sunday, 7 to 10 p.m. here on the Matt Rooney Show. Quick timeout. Back in just a few.
Park to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app.
Download it now.
Baby, I promised I'd be back, and I am Matt Rooney here on the Matt Rooney Show. Wearing shorts on this lovely spring day, not wearing parachute pants. You might be forgiven for thinking I was, given what kind of music we're playing this evening.
Yeah, you're wearing man flops too.
Yeah, which, I didn't know. I guess we got to go through this again. I've got the thong flop. And apparently this is a problem for you. Because you nitpick me over everything.
And?
I'm just saying, I feel like people need to know that.
Okay.
Because you made and he's got his flip-flops too. He's got his flip-flops too.
Got his flip-flops on from Martha's Vineyard.
I'm just a little Mick Jaggery.
I'm a man of many talents.
Well, you got a few. Can't wait to find out what they are. 855-839-1210 is the number. Hey, let's lighten things up a little bit, Daniel. Happy belated Earth Day.
Yes. Happy belated Earth Day.
I'm sure you went out and planted a tree and sacrificed a virgin to Mother Gaia and did all the other things you're supposed to do on
Can't
Earth
say
Day.
that I
built a charger for a Tesla.
Can't say that I have sacrificed
Mr. Fetterman.
a virgin, but like
well, there's still time. It's still Earth Day weekend.
Oh yeah.
So you can still get in your pagan ritual after the show tonight. You still have a couple hours when we wrap up at 10.
Yeah.
I've got a website, savejersey.com.
Oh, you do Save Jersey as well? That was the wrong one, but okay.
That was the wrong one. Yeah, I meant to.
That's interesting.
I meant to. I didn't want Trump saying Buttigieg. I wanted Alec Baldwin.
That's interesting.
Congratulations to Alec Baldwin, by the way.
Yeah.
For maybe getting away with manslaughter. They dropped the charges. But they issued some kind of convoluted statement about how they might be back with other charges. Good luck with that.
Great.
That'll work with the jury now that you already dropped the other charges that maybe you shouldn't have brought to begin with because they were half-baked. And I am not a defender of Alec Baldwin. I'm just also not very much a fan of prosecutors that do a sloppy job.
Alvin Bragg.
Good old Alvin Bragg. And what a terrible name, by the way, for a guy
Alvin?
that's going to be a partisan chill. No, not Alvin. Bragg. I hate you so much. Back to Earth Day. I want to celebrate Earth Day. Don't divert us. It's a very important holiday because humans, mostly conservative white males, and our imperialist, capitalist Western lifestyle are slowly choking the life force out of the planet. You know this. I know this. The American people know this. So every year on my website, which Dan likes to make fun of, even though it's New Jersey's #1 conservative website, Dan. Number one. Do you have a #1 website?
Yes.
What is it?
I can't say it on there.
As soon as you think of it, let me know.
Oh, I know what it is. Just let your imagination run wild.
I'm going to find this young lady you're dating, and I'm going to make sure she gets to listen to this show. She needs to know about your creepy websites and your anger issues. Well, whatever. We'll revisit that later.
Let's just say someone spiked a lot of searches on it.
Oh, my God. This story's not going to be any less depressing.
Okay, what about Earth Day?
Ladies and gents, every year for maybe about 10 years now, I've made it a tradition of reposting the same story, and some of you are going to be familiar with it because this is a Philadelphia story. I repost every year on Earth Day weekend the tale of Ira Einhorn. Do you know who Ira Einhorn is, Daniel?
No, but I know who that other Maya Angelou is.
Maya Angelou?
Yeah.
What does Maya Angelou have to do with Ira Einhorn?
I don't know. I thought of the poem that she wrote. So I was like, the tale and the poem. So I was like, oh, Maya Angelou and Ira. And I was like, they're probably like the same people.
Well, let me finish the story about Ira Einhorn, young man, and you can tell me whether there's any connection between the two.
Okay.
See, this is part of what I love about this show. For those of you that are newer to the program, I get to educate Daniel, and sometimes it's a real hoot.
Oh, Ira's a man.
Ira is a man. Yes, yes. There is a difference.
The unicorn killer.
The unicorn killer. Isn't that adorable? Isn't that adorbs?
There's no such thing as unicorns.
Well, there's unicorn killers. And it was.
Go
ahead.
I was just saying, I don't think Maya Angelou and
No.
this guy are the same exact
No,
person.
and I'm no fan of Ms. Angelou, but for very different reasons. So it was 53 years ago yesterday that Ira Einhorn got on a stage in Fairmount Park, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, because he was the co-founder of Earth Day. And they had this big old first ever Earth Day event, and they talked about the planet, and there were all these environmental activists there, and they kicked off this whole godforsaken third-string holiday we have to deal with every year since. What gets less coverage when we talk about Earth Day every year is that about 7 years later, police ended up raiding his Philadelphia, Pennsylvania apartment, and in his closet they found, drumroll please, the body of his ex-girlfriend inside a trunk.
Oh, same here.
Same here?
Yeah, same here. Same here. Yeah.
Same here, like you did the same thing?
Yeah, they found a body in the back of my trunk, but I got away with it.
Well, did you compost her?
Yeah.
Because if you're a good environmentalist like Ira Einhorn is, it's not just murder. Because we all know that humans are what's killing the planet, right? I alluded to that a moment ago.
No, climate change is what's killing the planet.
Well, but
Let's get it right.
But what's causing climate change? Us. We're a scourge on the earth. So you can't really blame Ira Einhorn using that rubric. But if you're a true environmentalist, you not just murder someone, you also compost their body. Because we all know that composting is good for the planet. So that's
Sure
how
is.
that's how dedicated the co-founder of Earth
Get
Day
it
was.
dedicated? Dedicated? That's a good one. You cannot that. Wow.
That's the one you want to hang
Let's
your hat
get-
on there, Chief?
Let's get a round of applause.
Your friend Grieg
I don't care about Greek.
is over on you. Why are you hating on Grieg?
I came in today and chose violence.
You did. You came in today with just a chip on your shoulder.
Actually, he did say during the week that he likes the show. So,
Who?
Greek.
Grieg?
Yeah.
Oh, did he call in during the week?
No, he commented on our YouTube stream throughout the
Oh.
past week. He's like, I actually really like those guys.
Well, I would think Grieg does because we spend like a third of our time talking about Grieg. He gets preferential treatment.
Yeah,
I
we
don't
have-
know why.
yeah.
I think it's because we like saying his name.
I guess. I don't know.
But Grieg says
anyway,
Ira Einhorn buried his girlfriend in a pile of compost inspired by Soylent Green.
Anyway, continue your Earth Day.
Well, do
rant.
you know what that's a reference to?
Nope.
I'm going to educate you.
Educate me.
It's a 1973 sci-fi film starring none other than Charlton Heston. And
Wow.
and there's a famous line in the movie where he goes, "Soylent Green is people." Like that.
Wow. That's wow.
What do you mean that's wow?
That's wow. It's a movie that I've never heard of, an actor that I've never heard of, and a movie that I will probably never see.
Well, you should. It's a goodie. Because what they ultimately discover is that human corpses are being processed and transformed into Soylent Green. So it's an Ira Einhorn-y kind of situation.
Is Ira Einhorny for some corpses?
You get your mind out of the gutter. Get it out of the gutter.
You cannot tell me these aren't good.
I'm the dad. I'm supposed to make the dad jokes. You're young. You're 22. You're supposed to be interesting. You're out in the town dating 2, 3, 4 women at a time. I don't know how many.
Make it 12.
Yeah, you wish.
Seems like a good number.
12?
Yeah.
Okay. Is this like a East Coast remake of Big Love or something?
I'm a living Adam Sandler movie.
What?
I have 50 first dates written all over me with just 50 different women.
Now, don't watch Soylent Green with them. That's my little. I'm the last person to give you dating advice, but I would recommend steering clear of that, Chief.
But I did. I did offer if she wanted to watch the Saw franchise with me on Friday night.
Did you really? Oh no.
Well, no, we were just I was like, hey, you want to watch a movie? I was like, yeah, what movie you want to watch? She was like, let's put on Twilight, and I was like, no.
Did she really ask to watch Twilight with you?
Yes, because her name is Bella.
Oh my.
So Bella is the main character in Twilight. Have you ever seen Twilight?
No.
Okay, well, the main Kristen Stewart.
I mean, I know what it is,
yeah,
but
Kristen
I don't.
Stewart's character is Bella, and I was like,
she named after?
No.
That couldn't be.
No.
That couldn't be. She's too, because even at her age.
No, Twilight was made after.
Yeah.
But I was like, hey, you seen the Saw franchise? She was like, I've seen parts of it, and then we never watched it, so it's probably for the best.
And then your counteroffer was Saw?
Yeah. And then we just didn't watch. We didn't watch anything at that point, so
probably for the best. Both of those are horrible date movie options.
That's why we didn't watch anything.
Oh. We didn't watch anything?
What are you alluding to here?
Well, I don't know. You said we didn't watch anything. And
yeah, I'm
there
just
was
saying
some inflection in your voice,
right,
and you
we
looked
didn't.
at me. See, you don't have the producer cam on you right now.
Now I do.
But when you said that, you looked at me through the glass and said, we didn't watch anything.
No, I'm just saying.
Implying that you weren't watching anything because maybe, well, your mother's listening, and I'm going to be respectful.
Can you let me talk?
Yeah, sure. It's the Dan Valdez show, so go ahead. You talk.
It's the Matt,
I'm
the
sorry,
Matt and Dan show.
I'm sorry I interrupted you on your program.
We didn't watch anything because we couldn't agree on anything.
All right. Well, welcome to relationships.
I know. Anyway, continue
Other
on.
than Ted Lasso, my wife and I haven't agreed to watch the same program in, I think, about 5 years.
Can you continue about Ira Einhorn here? I'm interested.
Well, I've said what I've had to say about Ira Einhorn. Every year, I troll the left by posting this on my website, and it drives them nuts.
So we
because
celebrate
of this religious fanaticism that they attach to their environmental beliefs. The fact that their founder of this secular religion they've set up, or this co-founder, Ira Einhorn, is not only a girlfriend killer, so there's violence against women, something the left is supposed to find abhorrent, right? But he also composted the poor thing.
Did he compost her in
the trunk?
What? But what?
In a trunk.
Right. But what does he have to do with Earth Day?
He's the co-founder.
He's like, hey, I'm gonna find Earth Day.
Yeah, they had this big event in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I said this at the beginning.
I know, but I'm trying
to pay attention to the entire program.
I am paying attention. I just want to make sure that I have it correct. That he was co-founder of Earth Day. One day he was just like, hey, today's going to be Earth Day. And then they did all this thing in the park in Philadelphia.
This big event in Fairmount Park.
Yeah, and then the police
and then
found
all
him.
these other people that look like you, right? What did our friend say?
A hipster?
On YouTube? Yeah.
So then they're like,
one of our listeners said you look like a hipster. So
Yeah.
a bunch of people look like you.
Okay.
A little squirrely, a little untrustworthy looking.
Okay.
Yeah. Got together, ate some acorns, talked about Mother Gaia.
Mm-hmm.
And then several years later, home raided, find girlfriend in a trunk, composted. Those are all the facts that are relevant to our discussion.
Okay, so
Yes.
they were just a bunch of squirrels.
What about the squirrels?
I'm just saying they were a bunch of squirrels, you know?
Who is?
Never mind. Forget it. Forget it.
All right.
Forget it.
All right. 855-839-1210. I promised I was gonna do this earlier in the show. I'm gonna go ahead and just make it happen. We're going to go out and have a catch outside during the break. Because your energy tonight, man, it's just...
Unlike anything else.
Unlike anything else. And you need to go outside, run off some steam. I don't know what we need to do.
I did run off some steam, actually, today.
Being the broadcast professional that I am, it's my duty to fix this.
I did run off some steam. I had a good old softball practice today.
You playing a softball team?
Yeah, co-ed. Adult softball team.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's a very young, singly thing to do. Join a softball team.
You making fun of me?
No, I'm not making fun of you. That was a factual statement.
It's a fun time.
Okay, well, I'm glad you're having fun. 855-839-1210 is the number here on The Matt Rooney Show on 1210 WPHT.
Oh, it's your show?
I'm going to take a quick break to go into the other booth and compost my producer. When we come back, we've got 2 more hours of fantastic radio for you, whether you were listening via that old-timey radio or if you're watching us online at youtube.com/@1210 WPHT. Let's take a break, fill our coffee mugs. Back with more in just a few. Don't go anywhere.
WPHT, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local with Matt Rooney on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Welcome back, all, to the Matt Rooney Show. Honored, positively tickled to have you with us on this beautiful Sunday evening in the Delaware Valley or wherever it is that you're listening in. Somewhere across the eastern seaboard, maybe a different point in the country, maybe you're even overseas. Remember we had that guy listening in Denmark?
That we did.
Yeah, we had a guy listening in Denmark. Go figure. The reach of the Matt Rooney Show, staggering. Staggering, and it's no wonder because no one does a better job on the weekends of looking back at the week that's gone by to prepare you for the week ahead. You're welcome. 855-839-1210 is the number if you want to call in and participate, and if you want to go a little bit further in your participation than just listening in, you can call, of course, or you can watch us online at our YouTube page, youtube.com/@1210 WPHT. You can also interact with us, and occasionally Dan may pick something off of the wire for the good of the class. You really ticked off Greek. He's not a happy man right now.
Okay. He can come in here and run the station.
All right, well, I'm just saying, don't be beefing with Greek.
I'm not beefing with anyone. If they want to have complaints, they can run the show.
Brian just commented, 2 people have dropped off already. What's he talking
Don't know.
I don't know what that means, Brian. We need context.
Oh, probably 2 people stopped watching the stream, which is great for them.
Gazillions of people listen to the show across all our formats, Brian. Gazillions.
It's not just we have a YouTube stream.
Yeah, this is just something new we're trying. But it's going well. How many subscribers do we have now on this little YouTube channel that you set up?
1.63K.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. It's only been a few weeks. And now we have these snappy new cameras that our friend Greg Stocker sprung for. I tried to fix the lighting in here last hour. Did not work. Failed. I still look like I'm broadcasting from under a table. Can we get a ring light or something? Not now, but for next week.
Bring one in. It's not my budget. Dawn has one in her studio. She brought it in.
Well, if I bring it in, will you set it up, though?
Sure.
Okay. All right.
You don't need one.
Would you look at how dark I look?
You're literally fine.
No, I'm not.
You are.
It's too dark. 855-839-1210 is the number. Too dark. Are you looking at the same feed that I'm looking at?
You're looking at the YouTube feed. I am looking at the software feed.
I think the YouTube feed's a little dark.
You know, it looks a lot lighter on my end than it does.
Yeah, let's see if we can fix that. I don't want to look like Hunter Biden passed out in a bathtub. That's all I'm trying to say.
Mine's fine.
I want to look bright, happy, snappy, that kind of thing.
Mine looks a little dark too, but I don't.
Okay.
Like you can see it on the stream, you know.
Look,
dark.
I'm always right. Don't fight with me.
Okay.
Don't make an issue with
That's right.
this.
You are a lawyer.
What does that have to do with it?
I'm just saying you like to argue.
Yeah, but I'm usually correct, and that's what matters. Can I give you an example how I'm always correct?
I would love it.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna lay it down on you. You heard of this whole wind turbine thing off the coast of Cape May?
Yes.
And how it's killing the whales?
Yes.
Did you know that I speak whale? Do you remember this?
That I did. Yes.
Yeah. Say, listen, I can give you an actual example. That's me speaking whale. Man of many talents. So I wrote over at SaveJersey.com, my website, about a month ago, maybe about a month or 2 months ago, that one of the angles that was being missed in this larger discussion of these wind turbines that are being constructed off the coast of New Jersey, and specifically all of the surveying activity that's happening that's resulting in whales and dolphins washing up on a weekly basis at the Jersey coast. Yes, it's dangerous to wildlife. Yes, it's going to be an eyesore once these turbines are completed, whether you live in New Jersey or at the Jersey Shore, or whether you're just a Pennsylvanian that likes to come in the summer to enjoy our beautiful beaches over in the dirty Jers. There's a whole other angle, and that angle is that it's a national security problem. And you don't have to be a physicist to understand why it's a national security challenge. And I wrote about this, again, back in early March, that there had been various reports, including over in Japan, over the course of time, of concerns raised by militaries because of these massive turbines. There's some patently obvious issues because they build these things close to the coast, so that makes it difficult for coast guards and navies to be able to maneuver because they have these massive windmills that are the size of the Eiffel Tower in the middle of the ocean. So God forbid a boater, for example, or fisherman or something like that goes down around one of these things. Very difficult to rescue them. But you also have these giant reflective objects in the middle of the sea which interfere with radar. Again, you don't have to be a scientist to appreciate why that would be problematic. Well, I wrote about it before anybody else was talking about it, and then Bloomberg just decided this past week.
Mike Bloomberg?
No, not Mike Bloomberg. Mike Bloomberg, the publication. Not Bloomberg, the pint-sized ex-mayor of New York City. So this is the publication, wrote about how the Pentagon, this is Joe Biden's own Pentagon, is reportedly concerned about the national security implications of these turbines and are pushing back. Because it's not just Governor Phil Murphy over in New Jersey, it's also Joe Biden at the federal level that is putting a massive push on to get these things built off of our coast. Again, regardless of the effect on the wildlife, regardless of national security implications, regardless of whether or not it's actually going to lower your electric bill. And we've been over this before in the Matt Rooney Show. We've had Dr. Jonathan Lesser on. We've shared the data with you. New Jerseyans, for example, are actually end up spending more if these darn things ever get built. Guaranteed, you can take that to the bank. But I have been validated because no one cares when a conservative blog says it. But now that Bloomberg has said it, well, now you're gonna have validation of these concerns. Now, will any environmental groups agitate in favor of restricting the exploration that is happening right now for the construction of these turbines? I doubt it because we haven't seen it to date. New Jersey, it's been a fascinating thing to witness. All of these groups like Sierra Club, who are in almost any other context agitating on behalf of the environment, supportive of these turbines, notwithstanding the fact that a new Shamu or a new flipper is washing up on a daily basis. In fact, in the past month, we've had two separate dolphins, wash up within about a mile of Phil Murphy's mansion up along the coast up in Monmouth County.
Don't you dare bring Shamu into this. Just an innocent whale.
I don't know what to tell you, bud. Hey, you don't have to tell me. I speak whale. You got to go a little bit deeper. We've been over this. It comes from the back of the throat.
There's other kinds of whales that speak different kinds of tones.
Which other whales?
There's other whales, you know? You have a killer whale. You have a blue whale.
See, look, like that. In the back. There you go. Good.
Thank you for teaching me how to speak whale.
You're welcome. One of the many things we do on this show. Happy to help, my friend.
Continue with your thought.
Happy to help. Yeah, so this is from the Bloomberg story, okay? And this was published back on April 17th. Maps shared with industry stakeholders and seen by Bloomberg News show vast red areas that the Navy and Air Force have deemed highly problematic. We all know highly problematic is about as concerning a phrase as you'll ever hear from the left, and that includes our leftist government that currently sits in power in Washington, D.C. Covering prime real estate, the Interior Department last year earmarked for leasing off the coast of North Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, and Delaware.
Well, they also posted an article saying how AI can help protect whales from a wind farm boom. AI protecting the whales.
Are they referring to that fake AI soundtrack that you played last week from Kanye? Kanye singing Country's going to save the whales, drive them away from the coast?
Apparently, it's an AI software that works with infrared video cameras and able to detect small changes in temperature that makes it possible to detect whales during low visibility conditions.
Yeah. Which is remarkable, right? Because we have documents, these impact studies, which verify that the government knew that these whales and these dolphins were going to be imperiled by this activity. Now we have concerns from the Pentagon that it's going to endanger our national security. Yet the Biden administration, the Murphy administration, gung-ho, full steam ahead before any of these issues were resolved. Forget how you feel about the substance of the issue. Whether or not you think the Earth is indeed warming at an alarming rate and we're to blame and that we need to cut back on fossil fuels in order to save the planet, or whether you think that's all malarkey, to use a Bidenism. Shouldn't this stuff have been contemplated and addressed before we started surveying for the construction of these wind turbines? That's how adults, that's how leaders make decisions. You consider the contingencies and you deal with them before you begin the construction. But back to our buddy Ira Einhorn, who we talked about in the first hour, going back to the 1970s when he composted his girlfriend on forward through Earth Day 2023, environmentalists haven't gotten any less radical. If anything, there are more of them out there today with this religious fanaticism attached to environmentalism and climate change and saving the planet, to the point where they are now trapped in a web of contradictions. Case in point, there is apparently no limit to the number of whales and dolphins they're willing to slaughter in order to save the environment. Make any sense? Not much to me. But again, from this Bloomberg article from earlier last week, The breadth of the Pentagon's opposition could imperil President Joe Biden's plan to install 30 gigawatts of offshore wind power, equivalent to 30 nuclear reactors, by the end of the decade. Newly bolstered state goals for the development and planned manufacturing facilities in Maryland, Virginia, tied to the nascent U.S. industry. The clash represents the latest threat to the fledgling industry that is already grappling with supply chain challenges, inflation-stoked prices, and opposition from coastal communities. What they don't really get into is how up in New England, the market there that they've set up for wind energy is already in free fall because making these things...
New England's.
Up in New England. You want to do your New England accent?
I was just doing it. I like New England clam chowder. That was more British, but like Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah, that was New England like 300 years ago. The first people that came from actual England.
I like New England clam chowder. My potatoes.
The wind industry up there in free fall, it doesn't work. It's another thing that doesn't survive without subsidies. And if any type of industry can only survive with government subsidies, then it is something that the government should not be subsidizing. It can't stand under its own power. It's a technology, and this is a great example, that either hasn't evolved to the point where it's worthy of investment, or there are simply too many problems that have not been addressed by the quote-unquote stakeholders or by our government leaders, such that it represents a risk to the people that it's supposed to be helping us, the taxpayers. So there you go. Wind energy continues to be problematic, highly problematic, to use that leftist phrase again. And yet our leaders, Biden, Murphy, and the rest of them, full steam ahead, notwithstanding these problems. I mean, what else have they done to convince you that they care about our national security? When has that ever stopped them?
They haven't. They haven't done anything. I'm getting sick and tired of it.
Is that you, Minnie Mouse? Did you sneak into the studio?
No, that's
Did we get a sponsorship with Disney?
No, that's Frederica. That's
yeah. Do you have our Frederica?
Will fight you.
Yeah, no, it's Frederica.
I still can't get over that a real human sounds like that.
We will. I'm tired of this.
We will fight you.
I'm tired of this government.
855-839-1210 is the number if you, like Frederica, are tired and want to fight. And I hope this windmill thing ticks you off as much as it peeves me. This is the Jersey Shore we're talking about. We all love our beaches. They're going to erect these ugly eyesores off the coast that are killing whales, killing dolphins, imperiling our national security, making our coast less secure. And what do we get to show for it? Absolutely nothing. If you were going to take my energy bill and cut it in half, maybe, I don't know, maybe I wouldn't mind a dolphin or a whale or two meeting an untimely end. And I've said that, by the way, Dan, to some of my lefty friends who, they tend to look like you, hipster types. And they say, oh, well, you don't care when pelicans and when whales and dolphins are hurt by an oil rig. That's not just apples and oranges, that's apples and anvils. And one of the many problems, to be a little cold but logical about it for a second there, is that ultimately we always balance the impact on the environment against the benefit for humans. There's no benefit to these things for humans. We get nothing from these windmills. More is going to go into them than we are ever going to get out. And then you add that to all of the obvious problems and complications we're talking about right now on the program. They're not worth it. Oil, we do quite a bit with oil, don't we? Powers everything in our society. So, yeah, I don't love it if occasionally there's that rare oil spill and some wildlife is damaged. Obviously, that's a horrible thing. But unless you want to be pedaling around in Flintstone cars, don't know about you, not too appealing to me. That's what we got to do. Again, none of this is very complicated or hard to understand or even controversial unless you are one of these environmental radicals. If you're part of this leftist secular religion that's set up in our country, which not only makes them say and do some awfully kooky things, but also greatly inhibits our ability to have a productive political discourse. Why? Because I can't disprove someone's religion. You can't disprove religion. So when all of your political beliefs progress from policy to religious doctrine, that's the end of discussion. And it brings us to the dark place, this unproductive place in which we currently find ourselves. 855-839-1210 is the number. Matt Rooney here on the Matt Rooney Show. We've got plenty more ahead this hour. We're going to talk a little 2024. And we actually, Dan, I didn't give you a heads up about this. Our good pal Dan Cerrucci is going to call in because he wrote a really cool piece about the last president to serve 2 terms, one of which was non-consecutive. So I don't know who possibly I could be talking about here, who may be on track to do the exact same thing. But Dan always digs a little deeper, and being the PR expert that he is, I also want to ask him about the latest in this Christie, DeSantis, Trumpian media maelstrom that we're constantly reading about on a daily basis. He'll help us make sense of it here on the Matt Rooney Show on 1210 WPHT. Quick break. Back with more in just a few.
Free speech lives here. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
You're loving these tunes tonight.
I am.
It's pretty solid.
I did my research.
I feel young again.
I did my
It was
research.
Morning in America, Dan.
What?
It was Morning in America, the 1980s.
I wasn't around.
Ronald Reagan reference.
I was not around.
I know you weren't around, my friend.
That's why I did a lot of research. I put pride in these themes that I just started doing last week.
You've never. I bet you probably have never seen Ronald Reagan's Morning in America ad.
No.
Oh, it's great. There's a paper boy delivering the newspaper. There's a family getting ready for their day. Ronald Reagan comes riding in on a train. It's positively wonderful. Look it up.
What's it called?
Because your generation, Morning in America. Ronald Reagan's Morning in America ad. It ran during his reelect in 84. Did you find it?
Prouder, stronger, better.
It's Morning Again in America. That's the name of it. It's
Yeah.
Morning Again in America, Ronald Reagan.
Yeah. It's Morning Again in America. That
Good,
was
play
part
it.
of a.
Play it.
I didn't expect you to play it. I didn't expect all this. This is honestly just new to me.
Well, this is radio, my friend. You have to learn to pivot
Hold on, let me.
occasionally.
I mean, that's fine.
You have to serve the whims of your host.
There we go. Is this it?
It's morning
Is it?
again in America. Today, more men and women will go to work than ever before in our country's history.
That's right. They were men and women back then.
With interest rates at about half the record highs of 1980, nearly 2,000 families today will buy new homes, more than at any time in the past 4 years. This afternoon, 6,500 young men and women will be married. And with inflation at less than half of what it was just 4 years ago.
All right, that's enough.
What?
That's enough.
What do you mean that's enough?
That's enough.
See, your generation's too cynical.
I'm not cynical. I just don't have the attention span.
Well, that's another problem. That's another problem for another discussion.
Exactly.
If you can't get it into 140 characters, you guys are not interested.
No.
God,
Pathetic.
And the kind of leadership we get is a reflection of our attention span. These guys and gals can get away with anything these days. Let me give you another example. While we're talking about New Jersey, we were just talking about the turbines off the coast. Phil Murphy. Well, let me back up for a second. The State House in New Jersey just completed this massive, multi-year, $300 million refurbishment process. They completely redid the whole darn thing because allegedly it was falling down. Now it's not. Hooray. Of course, within that $300 million budget, there's some expenditures which don't relate in any way to keeping the State House upright so that it doesn't sink into the Delaware River. And there was a report from NJ.com, which NJ.com is an exceedingly crappy news publication. Normally, the only real news you get from there is, one of these clickbait lists of, hey, here's the top 10 pizzerias in New Jersey.
Do you know the people from NJ.com?
That kind of stuff. Do I know them?
Yeah.
I mean, I know a few of them. Many of them have left. They've been laying people off like nobody's business over the course of the years. Because you don't need to be a journalist to create a list of 10 pizzerias.
It's true.
Doesn't take much.
I can give you a list right now.
From where? What geographic region?
Top 10 pizza?
Yeah.
Places.
Well, right, but from where, Daniel?
That's
Like, are you
just-
talking about your neighborhood? Or?
Don't question it. Just the top 10 pizza places.
Okay.
Domino's, Little Caesars, Pizza Hut.
If you're going to talk trash like that, you're just out of here. You're just out of here, pal. Although I will say this, on the spectrum of pizza that I would eat when drunk, Little Caesars not at the bottom.
Little Caesars is at the bottom.
Domino's disgusting. Sorry,
Domino's disgusting.
if I'm offending
I would
anyone,
put I
need to be that level of intoxicated where, and look, don't act all high and mighty out there, folks. That level of intoxicated where your face is extra sensitive. You know what I'm talking about?
I would put Pizza Hut at the top. Pizza
Hut, yeah.
Pizza Hut stuffed crust.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Well, I would eat that right now.
Mm.
Get me some of that.
Mm.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Mm.
Domino's.
No, Domino's kind of fell off the edge. I used to work
Papa
for
John's. It's kind of somewhere in there.
I used to work
in
for
the middle.
Domino's. You know that? I don't speak for them or I don't speak for them
Not surprised by that.
or the company. Yeah, it was my first job.
I also think that given where we are in the world, you live in the pizza belt. And this has nothing to do with the Phil Murphy story, by the way. We live in the pizza belt, so if you're in some place in the middle of the country that's not known for Italian food, one of the states you make fun of, we were over that in the first hour.
Wyoming.
Yeah, if you're in Wyoming you're not expecting to get great pizza. So
I haven't had
maybe
pizza in a
that's
while.
where you have Domino's.
I have not had pizza in a while, but I do like pizza trucks. They're good.
Well, pizza trucks are good. But that's the point I'm making, Daniel. You live in a part of the world where you have fantastic non-chain pizza options all over the place.
Yeah.
There's no excuse to go ahead and get Domino's.
Especially right here in our city. Philadelphia pizza,
Yeah, it's solid, man.
Lorenzo's, big-ass slice,
Yeah.
all good.
Pizza
All good.
Belt.
Yeah.
Pizza Belt runs from about where we are, the Delaware Valley, up to Boston. That's the Pizza Belt. Get outside of the Pizza Belt, it's ketchup on a cracker. A little bit of provolone sprinkled on there, if they even know what provolone cheese is.
So it's from southern New Jersey to Providence, Rhode Island.
I mean, more or less.
Yeah. It runs more or less contingency, hugging the coast from southern New Jersey to Providence, Rhode Island.
Because Rhode Island has a massive Italian population.
Chicago's not in the pizza belt. And
Yeah, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Chicago-style pizza, you take some crust, just like you're making a pie, and you just dump a bunch of cheese in there. I mean, again, I will eat that, but
I
it's
like
not,
deep dish, but I don't like Chicago style.
This is not really pizza.
I like pan pizza too.
It's cheese pie. That's
Yeah.
what it is. It's a cheese pie, which, again, I love pie and I like cheese.
I like tomato pie.
Tomato pie is excellent.
Corporalese. You ever had Corporalese?
Yes.
They have them in Jersey?
No. Not that I'm aware of.
It's only a PA thing.
Yeah, tomato pie is delicious. This is the most strongly I've ever agreed with you on anything. Tomato pie. But
Tomato pie is good.
let's get back to things that are of less good value and quality. Phil Murphy, I mentioned this $300 million state house rehab budget. $500,000 on furniture and furnishings for his office and the one that is used by First Lady Tammy Murphy. $500,000 on furniture for their offices. And when you dig through it, oh boy.
What is his
Have
wife
you
doing?
ever put your head on a pillow that cost over $400?
No, I use a MyPillow.
Oh, you're a MyPillow guy?
Yeah, I have two of them on my bed. One for like to where my head rests, and then I have one behind my head, so like it doesn't go to my headboard.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm a MyPillow guy.
All right, okay. I know some people are fans of the MyPillow.
It's the reason why Bed Bath & Beyond's going out of business.
Are you going to tell your young lady you're dating you're a MyPillow guy?
No.
Why?
Why does anyone care about what kind of pillow I use?
Well, you said that she wouldn't want to listen to the program. You're embarrassed.
A lot of
our-
people don't want to listen to this
You're embarrassed of
program.
our conservative product.
No, I just don't tell people I work for the station because I'm like, oh, what do you guys talk about? And I'm just like, things.
Well, this show, that would be accurate.
Right, we talk about things, but like the
This
station.
is the Seinfeld of radio shows. It's a show about nothing. We just talk about all kinds of random
Right,
crap here.
but people ask me like, "Oh, what do you guys talk about?" I'm just like, "Oh, it's politics." I'm like, "What kind of politics is it?" I was like, "Oh, it's conservative politics." They're like, "Oh."
Oh.
They're like, "Yeah, that's why I don't tell people that I
Oh.
work for the station."
Yeah, and then you get your rear end bounced.
But at times I have said it's just talk radio, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool." But a lot of times people don't know what AM radio is, which is a disgrace.
Well, no one's going to know soon once they're completely out of all these new electrical vehicles they're buying.
That's true.
They're building.
Yeah.
AM radio is going to be a thing of the past.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Phil Murphy, listen to this. 2 offices and reception area. Okay, that's the space that we're talking about here. $217,420 on rugs, 3 rugs. Nearly $67,000 for curtains. Not 6,700, 67,000 for curtains. $24,400 on sofas, and more than $31,100 on 2 antique desks. And there's a pair of chairs that go with them, and they're over $5,000 a piece, my man.
$5,000.
Pillows over $400 a piece. And they asked Phil Murphy about this.
If I'm not sleeping on a cloud, then I don't want it. You know what I mean? Like if I'm spending $400, then I better be having the best sleep I've ever had.
Yeah, for $400, the pillow should give you a neck rub or something
Exactly.
like that. Yeah.
Should put me to sleep
Yeah, gold leaf. Say
Immediately.
reassuring things in your ear.
immediately.
You're so good on the radio, Daniel. Something like that.
Oh, just come back and relax on me. You're so good.
So they asked Murphy about it, and Murphy, his response, and look, there's a lesson in this for Republicans. The guy never apologizes for anything. ever. He has never done anything wrong since he took office all the way back in January 2018. Not one darn thing.
Well, didn't he also buy like 8 SUVs?
Yeah, COVID money.
Yeah.
And we also found out, by the way, he's used a fraction of the state COVID money that he's received from the feds. A fraction of it. I think I posted on my website. I got to find it. Less than 20%. Meanwhile, $400+ pillows. And they confront him on this, members of the media, such as they are, and completely unapologetic. Oh, well, we're not taking it with us. This is stuff that's going to stay at the State House. Don't you want the State House to look nice? Yes, I want the State House to, for example, have pillars that look beautiful and speak to the majesty of the great Garden State and aren't going to fall down on us. I don't really care whether or not Phil Murphy's Tookus gets to sit on a $5,000 chair or a $500 chair. But I'll go ahead and I'll tweet the list, folks, and you can as ever make your own judgment. 2 lamps, $3,146. 2 cabinets, over $6,000. They love to spend money when it's our money that's going out the window, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, then if it's not your money, yeah.
I mean, you tell me if I'm off base here. We're not talking about the quality of the building materials. Well, maybe we could have gotten away with using fake marble instead of real marble, but it's the capital we want it to stand. That follows with me. That tracks, that logic. A $16,000 coffee table?
No.
Not.
I don't even use
so
my
much.
coffee table.
I'm impressed you have a coffee table.
Yeah. I have one. I have a dining room table, too. I don't use it.
You classy.
I don't use them.
You classy guy, you.
We just have it in our apartment to, I think just to beef it up a little bit, but we don't use them.
All right.
We don't, actively sit down.
It's just there. It's for decoration.
Essentially, and they were free.
It's part of the decor.
Yeah. A lot of our furniture was free.
Where'd you get it?
Our couch we got on Facebook Marketplace because some guy was taken out of a trailer, and he was like, I don't want it. So we took it, and it just fit. Our second couch was $15 from Bob's Discount Furniture. 2 tables were from the trash, but they were repurposed. And that's it. And then my desk, obviously, I bought.
Well, next time we're redoing the State House, we're going to send Phil Murphy shopping with you. Because as a taxpayer in the great state of New Jersey, I prefer your method.
My original chair was from the trash until I got a new one.
We need you in government, Dan.
I think you do.
You're wasted here on the radio. 855-839-1210 is the number. Let's take a quick timeout, run some ads, make some money, and we come back. We're going to talk a little election 2024 with our good friend Dan Cerrucci. See you in a sec.
Media PA to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Bass. Vision, dreams of passion.
Welcome back to the Matt Rooney Show. Honored to have you with us this evening. 80s Dance Party Edition. I didn't pick the theme. We let Dan control the music, something that no other host at this station is brave enough to do. But I just, on the weekends, I let you do it.
Thank you. It means a lot.
I know it does. I know it means quite a bit to you. And I'm all about your self-esteem. We all know how these Gen Zers are with their self-esteem, folks. You have to constantly validate them, make sure they feel appreciated. It's a heck of a lot of work, but someone needs to do it.
I figured if I'm going to have fun with the music, we should have a theme every week. And I had the bright idea of making it a contest every week. See who can guess the theme.
The all-time best, and you weren't even trying, was when they raided Mar-a-Lago, and it was raid music.
Oh, and it was raid music?
Yeah, that was really solid. Yeah.
And it was just hard metal?
Yeah. It was just hard metal, yeah.
Yeah.
Just imagine people, FBI agents rifling through Donald Trump's underwear drawer to that music. It really just kind of fit the mood.
Yeah.
855-839-1210 is the number, by the way. And I know some of you have been languishing on the phone, so let's maybe go to the lines here and take some of you out of purgatory. Mitch from Swarthmore wants to talk about food. Food will always get you to the top of the line. Welcome to the Matt Rooney Show, Mitch. Good evening. You want to talk about pizza?
Yeah, well, pizza in general, because in all my travels, one thing I've found is sometimes in the most unusual place, like once in Mississippi, I found the best pizza in the world.
In Mississippi?
And you would never expect to find anything like that. And another time I found it in great pizza, some of the best, in a place called Hollywood, Florida, down near Lauderdale.
Okay.
And each time I went back, they were gone.
The place was gone.
So, yeah, really big New York pies. These were these places that the big 32-inch with the big slices.
Oh, yeah, that's gorgeous.
And the first time I had that kind of pizza was when I would go up to New York on New Year's Eve, Times Square, and we'd walk up and down 8th Avenue. And every pizza place was awesome. You could throw a pebble and hit a great pizza place. And they were all those big pies that were too big to take out. They just, they cut them in slices, and then you'd slap two together like they do up there.
Yeah, and when they hand it to you, they maybe have 2 or 3 plastic plates because you need more than one plate to be able to convey this thing from the counter into your hands. It's absolutely glorious. Now, out of curiosity, because I've had this experience too. Case in point, I went to college in D.C. I found a place in Northern Virginia that has great pizza, Italian specialty products. They were transplants from Philly. These pizzerias you found down south, were they originally from the Pizza Belt, or did they originate down there and just somehow figured it out?
I think that's what it was. When I would get into conversations, like there was a great place in Charleston called Andolini's. And it's, from what I understand, it's no longer there. But again, just an awesome place with these giant 32-inch pies. It always seemed to be that's the best pizza, was the large, flat New York-style pie. And he was from Brooklyn, so apparently he brought his recipe down there while I was going to school. And one other thing, when you're talking about off the beaten path, years ago I bought a Lincoln, that Continental. It got terrible gas mileage, so I bought a Holley carburetor to put on it. And no mechanic anywhere knew how to put that Holley carburetor on. The linkage was too impossible. So somebody says, well, why don't you go to this place in Yeadon on Church Lane? It's just a garage, maybe one bay.
Right.
And I brought it to him, and he put it on, and he did a beautiful job. And it was on Christmas Eve, too. I remember I had to have this Lincoln for Christmas Eve, and he said, bring it over in the afternoon, and I'll put this car. And when I got it, and the car ran great, and later on he was gone. He He went on to race cars.
I'm
He
noticing
closed
a
his
pattern
shop.
here. You find these wonderful little hole-in-the-wall places, and then they disappear after you're done with them. Is
I
this
think
just you
that's-
trying to
yeah.
throw us off the beaten path so we don't find your
Yeah.
hidden gems, Mitch?
I think that generally speaking, you never in life know where you're going to find the next best whatever. But guarantee you that when you find it, when you go back a year or two later, it will be gone. I don't know why that is.
It's just one of the mysteries of existence on this planet, but very poignant and very accurate assessment, Mitch. Cars, pizza, life in general. Thanks for calling into the Matt Rooney Show, my friend.
You're welcome.
And he's not wrong. Those big floppy New York slices, there's just something about them. You can find them down on the boardwalk, too.
You can find them here, too.
Yes. What's the one that's on South Street?
Lorenzo's.
Yes. I
There's
haven't
one
been
in
there
Wells
in
Fargo
years.
Center, too.
Yeah, I mean, I try to stay away from South Street now because then you get caught up in the middle of a flash mob or something, and it's a little difficult to hold your giant floppy piece of pizza when the youth of Philadelphia are rioting around you. But different story for a different segment. Let's go to the phones, too, because we have our good friend Dan Cerrucci on the line. For those who don't know, but if you're a regular listener to 1210 WPHT, I'm sure you are familiar with Dan. I regularly collaborate with him over at SaveJersey.com. He is a PR professional, a world traveler, one of the more articulate people I know, and he is a keen observer, not just of politics, but the language of politics. So we enjoy having him on as frequently as we can coax him to join us when he's not globetrotting at some distant point in the globe and we can't get him on to talk about 2024 and anything else. So without further ado, the great Dan Cerrucci. Welcome back to 1210 WPHT, my friend.
Hi, Matt. It's great to be here, and you caught me at a good time because in not too many days I'm going to be off to Greece and Turkey.
Greece and Turkey. Exotic.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been to Greece and or Turkey before?
I've been to Greece before in the Greek islands, but I've never been to Turkey, which they now want you to refer to as Turkia. That's the official name that they want you to call it, Turkia. But I'm going there because Carol Cerrucci has longed to go to Istanbul for quite a while, and so I get to pal along with Carol Cerrucci because she wants to go to Istanbul.
Well, the women in our lives usually make the best decisions. So if it's
she's
Carol's
in charge of
idea,
that.
I'm sure you're not going to live to regret it. And hopefully
boss
you
says
can
that's where I
enjoy
gotta
Greece
go.
when you get to Greece, because I have not been, but I've been told that some of the more popular spots, not the islands so much, but the mainland, are a little touristy.
Right.
And, of course, we all know
Yeah.
what's happened in Greece in recent decades. It's not exactly been the model of Western civilization that it once was, being the cradle of democracy. So I can't wait to hear
Right.
what you find when you go there.
I will be giving you a full report.
You need to.
And people can follow along at dancerrucci.com. I'll be posting some stuff on there, too.
Yeah, which, I mean, dancerrucci.com, you've got some great political commentary, which is what you're here to talk about tonight. Also
Right.
doubles sometimes as a travel blog. And sometimes that's my
Sometimes.
favorite Dan Cerrucci postings because the pictures are just great. You're an amateur photographer, even if you don't think of yourself as one. And it's a lot of fun because I live vicariously through you because I'm a relatively young guy with 2 kids, so I don't get to travel that much, and you're always off to somewhere exotic and fun. So since I
Thank
can't
you.
go right now, I read your website.
Good. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yes, no, I thoroughly enjoy it. But down to the business at hand, you put a post up, I don't know if it was today or yesterday, talking about the possible parallels between Donald Trump, former President Trump, and the only other president in U.S. history who's pulled off non-consecutive terms in office. And as Donald Trump continues to rise in the polls, it seems as if his position as the frontrunner is solidified after his New York indictment. You correct me if you think I'm wrong in that. It's time to
So it
start looking
seems-
back to history to see exactly, hey, the last guy that did it, are there any similarities between these two American presidents? What did you find when you engaged in this comparison?
The last person that did it was Grover Cleveland in 1892, and that was 131 years ago. Now, he wasn't the only president to try it, interestingly enough. Martin Van Buren, Millard Fillmore, Ulysses Grant, Teddy Roosevelt, and this was a surprise to me, Herbert Hoover, all tried to come back after either being defeated and tossed out of the White House by the voters, or after serving and then trying to come back. Most people know about Teddy Roosevelt because he tried to come back as the nominee of the Progressive Bull Moose Party.
Sure. And split the GOP in the process, giving us Woodrow Wilson.
Right. Which, let's not even go there because that was the beginning of the progressive movement. Okay.
But it may be worth talking about here, right? Not to take us aside, just let's put a pin in that because, that's one of the fears right now that the Republican Party could split over this.
Oh, please. Which you have the never Trumpers, and that's a whole different thing. But Grover Cleveland, the interesting thing about it is that he was turned out of office after one term. He was still a relatively young man. This is what makes it different from Trump. Mm-hmm. And he actually won the popular vote in his try for re-election, but he lost the electoral vote. And he was so certain that he was going to come back. As he was leaving the White House, his wife, the First Lady, Frances Cleveland, told the staff, keep everything exactly as it is. I want to see it just as it is in pristine condition when we return in 4 years.
I can see Donald Trump saying something like that.
Exactly. And so the other parallel with Trump is that Grover Cleveland's party, I think he was a Democrat, Grover Cleveland's party was still enamored of him, and he still captured their imagination. And when he sought the nomination 4 years after he had been turned out of the White House, he was not nominated on the first ballot by the convention. And also the establishment of the party, the so-called elites of the party, didn't want him to come back. But he was easily renominated and went on to easily win against the man who had defeated him, Benjamin Harrison. So that's an interesting, he's the only one to have pulled this off. And you have to remember, though, that when Cleveland went for his comeback in 1892, he was still a relatively young man. He was in his mid-50s.
Right, which by presidential standards is pretty darn young. That's you're a kid if you're running for president in your 50s.
Yeah. But of course, you have to remember people didn't live as long in those days, too.
Right.
So
DeSantis is 44.
Who is this?
Ron DeSantis is 44.
Yes, so he still has time, and look, I mean, this has not been a good week for DeSantis, right?
Well, that's what people are saying, that DeSantis is having a difficult time. I mean, here's my question for you, and you tell me if you think my assessment is off base here. How much of a chance did DeSantis ever have in this thing, of at least being able to have his destiny in his own hands? I know the Republican base. You know the Republican base, Dan. We're part of the Republican base. We talk to fellow Republican voters. There is this desire, I think, on the part of at least a majority of Republican base voters right now to, in their mind, avenge what happened in 2020. And I'm not talking about this election conspiracy theory or that election conspiracy theory. It's this general idea that Donald Trump did a good job and didn't deserve the fate that was dealt to him. And until that is resolved, I don't think there's any getting past Donald Trump. And that has nothing to do with Ron DeSantis' merits. That's not to say that you and I and producer Dan here couldn't war game a scenario where Trump stumbles and something happens and DeSantis becomes the guy. But, I mean, isn't this really Donald Trump's to lose? And DeSantis, Christie, Haley, anyone else that's out there right now, they really have to rely on Donald Trump imploding and some external event intervening for them to even have a shot in hell.
Well, I think that may be. I do think that expectations were so high, had been pushed up so high for DeSantis. And that's, you got to be careful about that. You always want to keep expectations low. Ronald Reagan always liked to be underestimated. Mm-hmm. He enjoyed when people said, "Oh, he's an actor. He's not a politician. Blah blah blah. He's not very smart. He's rather dull. Blah blah blah." The expectations for DeSantis were so high that the minute he slipped, a person like that, then they all go in for the kill. Especially in this case, of course, the media that are stacked against Republicans anyway. The fewer candidates there are in the race for the Republican nomination, the more difficult it becomes for Trump. If it ever got to be a mano,
right,
one other candidate against him, that person, or maybe two, that person or those two, one of those two, would have a shot. But once it gets to 3, 4, 5, that's exactly what Trump wants. And that's the easiest way for him to glide to the nomination.
It's how he won in 2016.
Exactly.
And I think in retrospect, if things continue on their current trajectory, DeSantis didn't play his Trump card here, pun intended. Because if there's one thing that Donald Trump did in office that I think a majority of Republicans are unhappy with, it's not the stuff that Chris Christie is attacking him over, right? Christie came out last week, event in New Hampshire, complaining about the swamp, complaining about the border wall, complaining about this, that, and the other. It's COVID. This idea that the Trump administration empowered Fauci, did not decisively come out against the lockdowns. That's someplace objectively most conservative Republican base voters would find fault in the Trump administration. Who was better situated to advance that argument than Ron DeSantis? But instead, he adopted this, let's step back, let's not engage Trump, let's avoid making mistakes as we raise money and this, that, and the other. And as you and I know, that can often be a mistake, particularly when you're dealing with a guy like Donald Trump that is a master at manipulating events and certainly the coverage of him that results from those events. Dan Cerrucci, everyone. That's who we're talking to, of dancerrucci.com. One of my favorites, as you can tell from listening to him in just this relatively short period of time. He is a shrewd observer and commentator when it comes to politics, but also beyond politics, culture, entertainment, and much more. His website is always in my tabs on my browser, a place I check on a daily basis. So you need to as well. And he's also on the Twitter. Dan is over at Dan. Is that your handle, Dan Cerrucci, I think? Did I get that correct?
At Dan Cerrucci, yes, at Dan Cerrucci.
And did you pay Elon your $8 to get verified? Or are you going to?
No. No, I didn't. I never knew from verified or not verified. To be perfectly honest with you, on all the times that I've been in Twitter, I've never even noticed the blue check. Okay, it never registered with me.
And this is one of the many reasons why we love you, my friend. Thanks for calling in tonight. We'll bring you back soon to talk about the latest 2024 updates because we're only a few months away from the first debates.
Right. Thank you, Matt. The feeling is mutual.
Have a good evening, sir. That's Dan Cerrucci, everyone. dancerrucci.com, Twitter handle, Dan Cerrucci. Wow, Daniel, 2 hours just like that in the bag.
Yep.
But the good news is we still have 1 hour left to go. We're going to fit in some more news, some more factoids. We've got Dan's Fact of the Week. We've got Twit Talk still ahead. We're going to fit a ton into just an hour. Don't believe us? Tune in and watch it happen here on the Matt Rooney Show on 1210 WPHT. Let's take a break. Back in just a few moments.
Twelve ten WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Standard Time, having a ton of fun in the process as well. And I hope that you are too. Must be, because every week it seems like we have more and more people tuning in to this fantastic little show that we put on here on the air, Daniel. People are listening on the weekends. Lo and behold, contrary to what you might have heard elsewhere.
Not just a weekend show.
Not just a weekend show. So much more. So much more. 855-839-1210 is the number, by the way, on this weekend show if you want to call in and participate. We've got a fairly full final hour ahead for you. We've got Dan's Fact of the Week coming up here just momentarily. I can't wait to find out what it is because there's at least a 60% accuracy rate associated with Dan's Fact of the Week. And we've got Twit Talk ahead when I turn the program over to him. He already thinks it's his show. So I actually validate that for about 10, 15 minutes every week where he goes and finds interesting, sometimes funny, more often than not obscene clips from Twitter and TikTok and plays them on air. And you get to hear me react in horror at what he's pulled off of the interwebs. Did I describe that accurately?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about the long and the short of it. And, of course, anything else that we have time for or think is interesting. Because that's how things work here on the Matt Rooney Show. This is not a heavily scripted program. I have my quite voluminous stack of interesting information in front of me that I pull from stories that I and Dan have read during the course of the week to share with you because we think that they're worth talking about. But it's primarily about having fun around here. We like to enjoy ourselves because I am a big believer that even though we're living in serious times, there are too many people that take themselves too seriously. You know you see that on the left. They're a humorless bunch. But also sometimes you see that on the right. So we are not in any way looking past the seriousness of the times we're living through, but we try to find the humor and the levity and new ways to help you experience these things that don't make you want to hang yourself. No small task, but we do the best we can, right, Daniel?
We try.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
I feel like you had so much pep in your step tonight. And is it my fault that it's gone?
No.
What happened? Did you get a disconcerting text from one of your 15 women that you date?
Yeah. Yeah, disconcerting.
Now you're just being sarcastic.
No, I'm focusing here. I'm doing the podcast that you got. Got to do that.
No, we do have a podcast.
Yeah, that we do.
So you're doing your job for me that you're supposed to be doing later now instead of producing in real time.
Well, no, I'm doing everything all at once. I'm doing it when you're talking. So.
You also have our stream going.
Yeah.
We're over on YouTube.
Yeah. Yes.
YouTube.com/@1210WPHT, where, to quote Grieg, one of our viewers on YouTube every week, you guys are the odd in Odyssey.
That's not how it's pronounced. It's not Odyssey.
Right. That's yeah. I mean, Grieg usually has some pretty good slams. That's not his best.
That's not the best.
Because there's no odd in Odyssey.
Correct.
There's a D, but that's...
It's odd like audio.
Yes, he's mispronouncing it.
Yes, he is.
Kind of like how we deliberately mispronounce his name, Grieg.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what he's doing.
Probably.
Maybe he's saying, hey, you're going to mispronounce my name on purpose. I'm going to deliberately mispronounce your parent company's name. Doesn't matter, Grieg. Checks cash just the same. 855-839-1210, by the way, is once again the number here at the Matt Rooney Show if you want to call in and participate. Do you have the fact of the day ready?
I've had it
ready.
Because
I usually do it in the second hour, and I didn't do it because it was a pretty busy second hour. We had Dan call in to talk about 2024. I forgot to do it, and I want to know what it is.
Yeah, I have had it ready.
Okay, well let's do it. Let's kick our third hour off here.
You really want to kick it off, don't you?
I really do. I want to pour some accelerant.
Okay.
Onto this radio party. Let's hear it. And I'll decide whether it's worthy.
You ever heard of the expression, I'll be there in a jiffy?
Absolutely.
Jiffy is actually a unit of time. It's a real unit of time.
That's a thing?
Yes. It's 1/100th of a second.
I had no idea. Well, that's a good one.
Is that sarcasm or like you had no idea?
No, that's I'm genuinely impressed with you.
Yeah, jiffy is an actual time unit.
Is jiffy a time unit? You see, I care so much about the reputation of the show as a factual program.
Yeah.
I then check him on air.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is from Modern Marvels. Computer scientists say it's about 1/100th of a second. Okay. Electrical engineers clock it at around 1/60th of a second, but physicists view it as the time light takes to travel the radius of an electron.
So either way, it's a real unit of time.
Yeah, so you definitively said, I think it was 1/100th of a second. That's
Yeah.
apparently disputed. So I grade you a B+.
Well, either way.
Because if it was fully accurate, you would have done what I just did and give people the context that this is a disputed unit of measurement.
Well, I mean, yeah, either way, it's correct. Either way, it's a unit of time. So
Yes, no. Yeah.
Whether what it is, it doesn't matter, but it's a unit of time.
I gave you B+, Chief. That
I want
you
an A.
You can graduate on that.
I want an A.
Well, there's always next week.
That's not what I wanted.
You want to find another one?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, don't get all butthurt about it, okay?
No.
Somebody actually said that to me today. They said, I'll be back in a jiffy. Context for that. And this is one of my number one pet peeves.
Yeah. Probably should tell me this because I'm just going to run it to the ground.
This is a top Matt Rooney pet peeve. Well, there's no way for you to really replicate this here at the studio.
Oh, okay.
Unless you want to come down and drive my car for me. When you go to a restaurant and it is mandatory valet, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
You show up at a restaurant, maybe it's not a big parking lot, whatever, and there's some young kid standing there and you do not have a choice to just park. You have to go ahead and valet it. That drives me up a wall every time. And before you jump down my throat and say that I'm being a curmudgeon, just give the kid $5, $10, whatever. Let him or her or zer.
No, this is something I agree with.
Park car. Yeah, it's they don't give you the option. And today especially ticked me off because I had my wife in my car. I had my kids. I had a bunch of stuff we needed to bring into the restaurant because it was a family party. I didn't want to valet my darn car because it wasn't convenient. So I say to the kid, I'm like, can I just park over there? And he's like, well, you can pull up and you can kind of like temporarily leave the car there and bring everything in, but I still have to valet it for you. Why?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't pay anyone to drive my car. It's my car.
Yes.
No, don't get in my car.
And I could even understand when there's not a lot of spaces, but I'm at this restaurant on Sunday at noon. Right? It's not Saturday at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and the place is hopping. And I said, well, what if I want to park my car myself? And he pointed at this lot that was maybe about 400 meters down the road. He was like, oh, you can go park there.
No.
Well, you go ahead and carry an infant and a toddler, all that crap, and a ticked-off wife 400 yards to the restaurant and then back another 400 yards.
Did you eventually valet it?
I had no choice. Didn't give me an option. And I had to go because it was a family party. I couldn't be like, the heck with this, I want to go to a different restaurant.
Yeah.
But when I find out, and for all of you restaurateurs out there in our audience who would love to have Matt Rooney come to your restaurant, if you make me mandatory valet and I find out about it, then I'm done. I'm not coming.
Well, now would be the right time to tell you that my graduation party is mandatory valet.
Well, I'm going to see if Nick Cale will pick me up then. Because I'm not doing it.
It's not. It's not.
If it was, I would not come if I knew that in advance.
No, it's not. It's just a small parking lot, so you may or may not find parking, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, and if there's no parking, then I get it.
There's side street. You can definitely park on a side street, though.
But there was a billion spots at this darn place.
So what was stopping you from just driving it and parking?
They have it set up. I'd have to knock down a sign or a cone or something like that.
No, move the cone.
But then I'm picking a fight with some young guy like yourself. You know what I mean? And I don't want to. See, I'm not an antagonistic person. I'm not going to go and try to make somebody's life miserable just because they're doing their job. But I disagree with the policy. I'm not going to take it out on that kid. I'd like to tell the manager, hey, listen, let me park my car. I don't want somebody driving my car.
I don't want a bloke.
Some young whippersnapper.
Yeah, I don't want a bloke to drive my car.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Maybe you ladies and gents think I'm being a little curmudgeonly on this whole thing, but I made a comment about this on social media earlier, and it was, I want to say 95% in agreement with me. This is something that's not popular. So why restaurants do this, I don't know.
Why do you have valet parking at like the King of Prussia Mall?
So, right, so they do that. They do that at King of Prussia. They do it over in Cherry Hill as well. For those of you on the Jersey side, they do it at the Cherry Hill Mall. I can understand it at night, especially around the holidays. It's crowded. It's busy. These mall parking lots can be a little dicey, especially if you're there alone. That's a context I kind of understand. But there, they don't force you.
No, it's just
It's not mandatory at King of
optional.
Prussia.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's not
optional.
mandatory at Cherry Hill.
I don't know why they have it, but
Well, I just told you, because people don't want to go
mean, like-
walking through the mall parking lot with hundreds of dollars of stuff at night by themselves. I mean, this is Joe Biden's America.
grow some legs and walk.
We're back in, like, Batman 1989 times here. There's bad guys everywhere.
Okay.
Villainous people.
If I'm not seeing Danny DeVito, I don't want it.
Well, yeah, we all know you're not a huge fan of Batman 1989.
I am a fan of 89.
You trashed it on last week's program.
I did not trash it. I respectively said that it's a good movie, but it's not my top. That's all I said.
It's not my top.
Not my top.
Not my top.
That's all I said.
855-839-1210 is the number. Have you seen this story
Yes.
about Ralph? How do you know? I didn't even say the name. You're just yesing me now.
You said Ralph, and I was like, oh, I've seen this.
You seen this nonsense?
Yeah.
So there's this young gentleman named Ralph Yarl. Okay? Now Ralph Yarl is black, correct?
Yes. African American. Yep.
He's African American. Do we know that he's African American though?
Hold on.
Because since the left is obsessed with labels, this is always one that I get a little picky about. Because everyone who's black and in this country isn't necessarily of African origin. So do we even know?
No.
Know what?
I don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know. He's a black American.
So this young man got shot, okay, and the individual that shot him is this elderly white man I think he's in his 80s.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So forget for a second what happened here, because we don't know what happened here at this point. We don't know.
Allegedly, it's Ralph knocked on the door of the old...
Ralph Yarl.
Right. He knocked on the door of the old man's house.
Andrew Lester, who's
Correct.
84 years old.
Yeah. And apparently it was the wrong house. And all we know is that Andrew pop, shot him.
Yeah. Ralph Yarl was shot, and he's still alive. He's recovering.
Yep.
But obviously, old white man shoots young black man.
It's racist.
And without even digging into the other facts, which at this point, as I sit here on Sunday night, from what I've read, we still don't know a lot about this incident. We've automatically concluded that this 84-year-old man, he might as well be the what do they call it? The Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan. Like, he might as well
Grand
be
Wizard.
Grand Wizard, that's what it is.
Don't ask me why I know that.
Yeah, Grand Dragon might be something from like Game of Thrones or something.
Could be.
I don't know. I'm not too up on the Klan. In any event, set all that aside for a second. The most remarkable thing that's come out of this to date is an interview that CNN's Don Lemon, how's Don Lemon still have a show, by the way? I thought Don Lemon was canceled.
Nope. He's still in the morning show.
He's still there. Another story for another time. But the grandson of this gentleman, this 84-year-old, was interviewed by Don Lemon on CNN. And
why Don Lemon got that job, I don't know.
Well, has Don Lemon ever seen a situation he isn't willing to manipulate?
I don't know. He still thinks women in their prime. I forget what age he said, but
yeah. Well,
Nikki Haley was not in her prime.
It's CNN. Yeah, you can be a sexist if you're a liberal, and you're still allowed to race bait.
You know what I think it is?
Them's the rules. I don't make them.
Yeah, I think it's because he's gay.
Is he?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're like, oh, we don't want to you know.
You know how much CNN I've watched?
Well, I think it's like, oh, we don't want.
15 years?
They're like, oh, I don't think we want to get rid of them because LGBT. Just assumption. Don't come at me saying that's what it is.
No, I just didn't even know that about Don Lemon. I care that little about Don Lemon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, look at this. He met real estate agent Tim Malone in 2017, after which the two began dating. The couple announced in April 2019 that they were engaged to be married. Oh, adorbs.
Yep.
Positively adorable.
Gay man.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go.
He's gay and he's black, so it fits the agenda.
Well, he interviewed this young white grandson of this old white man accused of shooting the young black man. Are you still following me, everyone? Because this is a CNN story, so unfortunately everyone got put into a box.
The grandson of Andrew was interviewed by Don Lemon.
Yes, and he's got dreads. He's a young white guy with dreads.
He has the Colin Kaepernick haircut.
So therefore, he's guilty of cultural appropriation.
Yes.
Yes. But he proceeded to trash his grandfather. Completely trash him. And I'm going to tell you in a minute why that's noteworthy, but I want you to listen to the clip first.
Do you believe your grandfather is racist?
I believe he holds racist tendencies and beliefs.
Why do you say that?
He's just a stock American Christian male. It's older, that's just how they are. It's the conspiracies and weird random racist things they say, and it doesn't make sense, but they're just scared.
Now, listen, you're generalizing a lot here about, you said older Christian white males, but what do you mean by that? What do you mean they're scared? Talk to me more, please.
Yeah, it's just I feel like a lot of people of that generation are.
I don't know if I would like if Don said, talk to me more, please.
Talk to me more, please.
Hey, talk to me more, please.
And by the way, we're talking about Don Lemon and CNN, right? They don't really care that much about the truth or making sure they're checking their work. When Don Lemon is concerned, you're generalizing. That might be the point in time where you take a step back and say, maybe I'm not thinking this through.
Mind you, his grandson said that it was weird that he was a Christian white man.
Yes, stock
Christian white man.
Stock Christian white man.
Yeah, so that means he's automatically racist.
Yes, he's automatically racist.
All right, you want to continue?
Yeah, we should.
Are caught up in this 24-hour news cycle of fear and paranoia perpetuated by some other news stations, and he was fully into that. Sit and watch Fox News all day, every day, blaring in his living room.
Fox News.
And I think that stuff really kind of reinforces this negative view of minority groups and leads people to be doesn't necessarily lead people to be racist, but it reinforces and galvanizes racist people in their beliefs. Fox News galvanizes people
to be
racist.
Yeah, he listens to Fox News, therefore he's a racist. So did you? There's so much here that is worth talking about, but Don Lemon has this young man on his program, the grandson of this 84-year-old that is accused of shooting another young man. And you would expect, if this interview was newsworthy and CNN vets it and decides it's worth putting on air, that he would have some actual insight into his grandfather's motive. But you didn't hear from him when Don Lemon questioned him. Oh, yeah, my grandfather used to say that he wishes he could shoot a black man. Or, oh, yeah, my grandfather was always saying things about how if a young black man comes to the door, he would shoot him. Nothing even close to any of that. What this young guy says to Don Lemon in order to get himself on CNN is, oh, yeah, he's got some old racist tendencies because he's a white Christian that watched Fox News. That is the body of evidence before us. The viewer, if we're watching this interview on CNN. This is the state of journalism in 2023. This is the state of the left in 2023. You are guilty if you're a conservative, white Christian man. I mean, wow. If your head is not hurting after listening to this, then there is something deeply and profoundly wrong with you. At some other point in this interview, Because Don Lemon sets it up as like, oh, you're here to, give us your perspective as a family member. And this young man, the grandson, says, yes, my family, we're deeply distressed by this whole thing. We stand with Ralph Yarl, the man who was shot. Well, elsewhere, the brother of the grandson gave an interview and had an entirely different take. That it looked like a series of events where it was an accident, yada, yada, yada.
Oh, yeah, I think the brother of his brother was like, yeah, no, this is not like anything of him.
Yeah, like, in other words, the brother of this grandson, the brother of the guy that's got the dreads.
His other grandson.
Not in any way corroborating his brother's narrative. And then they asked the interviewee about that, and he's like, oh, he's being defensive of the grandfather, yada, yada, yada. So there's clearly more to this story. What a family, by the way. Would love to be at Thanksgiving at their house. Must be a real hoot.
Right.
Yeah.
His grandfather probably just watched Fox News all Thanksgiving.
Probably.
The Democrats.
The Democrats. But this is where we are.
Damn Democrats.
In our modern age. Well, right, which therefore makes him a racist. And this guy, I don't know what age this grandson is, but just by looking at him, he looks like he can't be any older than his 20s.
I would say it's like 20s.
Yeah, he's in his 20s. This is what our young people in this country are being raised to believe, that if you're white, you're male, you're Christian, you have this inherent racism embedded in you. This is CRT in action, right? This CRT in action, and therefore you are guilty before we even evaluate the body of facts. We are in such deep, profound trouble when this is how we are judging people's actions, people's character, before we even get to the truth of what happened in a particular incident. 855-839-1210 is the number. I am Matt Rooney. This is the Matt Rooney Show. Quick break and back with more in just a moment.
Don Stensland weekdays 10 till noon. Dom's here down on noon till 3. Free speech lives here. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app.
Can you feel the beat within my heart Can't you see my love shine through the dark? Can you feel the beat within my heart? Can't you see my love shine through the dark? Can't you see that you must be a part of that beat in my heart?
A couple people are annoyed at me on social media for pointing out that Clint Ludwig, the grandson of this 84-year-old accused shooter, has dreads. Folks, I'm not making fun of him for having dreads. I'm just simply pointing out that there are rules in this society now. Things you're allowed to do, things you're not allowed to do. You're not allowed to culturally appropriate. And so this is cultural appropriation. It's that simple. Don't blame me. Again, I don't make the rules. If I made the rules, we'd be living in a very different world today. You could be darn sure of that. 855-839-1210 is the number. Let's look at the phone. Ooh, David is on the list. David from San Francisco, one of our faves. He always goes to the top of the list when we go to the lines. David, welcome back to the Matt Rooney Show. How are things out on the left coast?
Oh, a little foggy. Decent day, but a little foggy. It's funny you were talking about, was it dreadlocks? I saw some pictures of the old Vikings, and they used to wear cornrows. And, that was basically their way of dealing with not only keep your hair in check when you're out on the ocean, but you'd be acting as somewhat of a helmet, too. So it's... there's cultural appropriation as function follows form. And as soon as they figured out how to braid, that's where a cornrow or a dreadlock came from. So kind of surprised you didn't know that. But
who says I didn't, David?
I'm
just referring to stuff like, and I have it right here for you. I will tweet it out. This is a 2016 article from CNN. We're talking about CNN here a moment ago. Dear White People with Dreadlocks, Some Things to Consider, by Emanuela Grinberg.
You ever heard of Roger Stone?
Yes, we've had Roger Stone on the show.
Do you consider him a traitor?
Do I consider him a traitor?
Yeah.
What does this have to do with dreadlocks?
Because he is a person who has gone out of his way for the last 40 years to divide nations, to come up with lame excuses to divide people, to pit people against each other, men and women against women, religions against each other, because his job for 40 years was to create coups. And he started in the Philippines with Ferdinand Marcos, and he moved all through Africa and into the Ukraine with Paul Manafort. They have been doing coups for friggin' 40 years. And when you start looking at somebody coming up with an article in 2016 about that, yeah, that's Manafort Stone for you. Come up with divide and conquer schemes. But what I was going to lead up to in the bigger picture,
planted the article on CNN about dreadlocks being cultural appropriation.
2016, wasn't that the election year?
Yeah, it was.
So when you start looking at politics today with divide and conquer schemes, you got to think about it as more like a corporate takeover. Like the Republican Party was taken over by Trump. Well, now, if Trump was really organized crime, and an organized crime propaganda campaign to basically get elected, and then he extorts all of the major figures in the Republican Party, it's not a political issue anymore. It's organized crime trying to get control of America. And for the Republican Party to say that, oh, you're going against Trump, you're going against a political figure. No, you're going against organized crime either way. The guy was organized crime. He put in Manafort and Stone to run his campaign in 2016, 2015 even. And they've been actively trying to divide America for their personal gain. And it's got...
Okay, that's enough of David. I can't handle it
I was
anymore.
listening to that.
I don't care. That's enough of David.
I wanted to get to the,
No.
How dare you cut David from San Francisco off the line?
I will do whatever I want.
I wanted to hear about how Paul Manafort and Roger Stone, who we've had on the show before, had a secret conspiracy to plant articles about dreadlocks on CNN.com. This is the kind of hard-hitting stuff we cover here on the Matt Rooney Show on Sunday nights.
When you start saying conspiracy theories, that's when I just, no, you're off. You're off. I'm sorry. Unless it's a conspiracy theory that I can get behind, other than that, you're off. I don't care. You're off my show.
Your show.
You're off my show.
You're off Dan's show.
Yeah.
When Dan's had enough.
You're off our show. I don't care.
When he's had enough, you're off, I guess. Well, that's a shame. We're never gonna know now.
Maybe he'll go back in. I don't know.
We're never gonna know. Well, I hope he does.
No. He does every once in a while.
Now, of course, we're having a little bit of fun from David from San Francisco, who famously called me a funky liar. I think the first or second time he called in, I lost track.
That he did, yep.
But, to his point about being divisive, I didn't really follow what he was saying about Manafort and Stone. But isn't it divisive to create a culture by shoving this kind of junk in kids' minds that someone, maybe even their grandfather, is inherently racist because they're white, male, and Christian? Might not that be the reason why we are hopelessly divided right now in this country? Call me crazy, folks, but the left has laid the groundwork for our current division. They are the author of what ails us in this country, and that's the fundamental problem with wokeness. They are making it impossible for us to have a conversation. That's the real problem with wokeness. Not just that the substance of their ideas is positively nuts, but we are constantly policing pronouns and whether or not you're allowed to, for example, have a certain hairstyle because your skin is the wrong color. When there are certain words that are triggering and therefore are not allowed to be used with certain people in certain contexts, you can't have a civilization that functions in a healthy way when that's the state of play. When those are the rules that govern our interpersonal reactions. You don't have to be a conservative. You don't have to be a Reaganite. You don't have to be a libertarian, whatever, to appreciate the problem with that. But here we are. But I guess it's all Paul Manafort's fault. And now we'll never know why, because Dan cut off David from San Francisco. 855-839 1210 is the number here on the Matt Rooney Show. Let's take one more break to make some cash, play some ads, and then we'll be back to round out the show with Twit Talk in just a moment. Don't go anywhere.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
Twitter apparently before the clip disappeared from TikTok's users page, the TikTok users page, excuse me, which is titled Wellness with Ashantis. She calls herself, among other titles at her Instagram page, a weight-neutral personal trainer. Her declaration came in an answer to the question, are there really zero circumstances in which intentional weight loss is healthy and not fat-phobic? This is real, and I am genuinely curious. Athantis replied, I'm going to say 99% of the time, if you are intentionally losing weight, it is fat-phobic. She did leave a smidgen of wiggle room in case I am truly, truly wrong, but added, I don't think I am.
I have some of the audio if you want to hear the TikTok.
Yeah. Did I pull this out of TwitTok, by the way?
No.
Okay, good.
No.
Because I didn't want to step on your...
So if you weren't going to play it, I was going to play it for TwitTok, but
Okay.
it doesn't really matter.
Well, good. I just didn't want to cut into TwitTok.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, let's listen to this young lady tell us why it's fat-phobic to lose weight.
Mind you, the whole thing is like 2 minutes long.
I don't think I could tolerate all 2
I think
minutes.
I pulled like a minute of it.
Yeah,
so.
that's about all we could tolerate.
Yeah, so here you go.
Another great question. This person was asking if there is any time in which intentional weight loss is not fat-phobic. I'm going to say 99.9% of the times, if you are intentionally losing weight, it is fat-phobic. I'm leaving that 0.01% in case I am truly, truly wrong, but I don't think I am. And here's the reason why. I'm not saying if you exercise and happen to lose weight that is fat-phobic. I'm not saying if you start a medication and you happen to lose weight, that is fat-phobic. I am not saying that if you're going through any type of, illness and that is altering your body in some way, that is fat-phobic. I'm saying when you are intentionally exercising to lose weight, altering your diet to lose weight, doing any activity intentionally to lose weight is fat-phobic.
Ah, okay. Well, there you go. Losing
Well,
weight.
don't people exercise to lose weight? So therefore, everyone who exercises is fat-phobic.
Most people, yeah, or at least keep it off, right?
By this logic.
So I guess I'm glad you made it clear, by the way, that if you're losing weight because, like, for example, you're undergoing cancer treatment, that's not fat-phobic.
It's
so
if
all
you're
the
active.
cancer patients out there that unfortunately lost weight because of chemo or radiation.
You're fine. You're not fat-phobic.
You're not a bigot. So you got that going for you.
Sucks that you have cancer, but guess what? You're not fat-phobic.
You're not a bigot, at least not for that reason, unless you are a white Christian male of a certain age who watches Fox News.
Yes.
Then, regardless of whether you're undergoing cancer treatment, you're a bigot.
Yes.
You see how this works?
Yes.
This is what we do here on the Matt Rooney Show. We decode all of this crap for you.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Oh, Dan, the hour is getting away from us. It's 9:44 in the East. I think this is the point in the show where I reluctantly turn the program over to you to kill whatever remaining brain cells we have left.
Okay, guys, gather round. Gather round.
It's Twit Talk time.
If we must.
Beginning of every Twit Talk starts with Barney.
It doesn't need to. That's not written anywhere.
No, but it's in my rules. Hey, them's the rules. I don't know. Them's the rules.
Well, like we're talking about with this wokeness stuff. Except in this instance, you could control this. You just don't want to.
Correct. I'd rather not. I think this really adds a lot of context to what we're talking about. So here's episode 21. Don't worry, we're almost done. We got like 3 episodes left.
Let's get it over with.
Yellow.
Breezy! Hey, my
Stupid kite.
Oh
Come on, land in the tree. Oh, yeah. Look, we're not crying over a kite today, okay? So suck it up.
no! We've got a ladder!
Oh, a 3-foot step ladder. Here, I'll hold it for you.
Thank you, Barney.
Oh, you might actually reach it. Oh, only shy by 30 feet. Hill.
3 more episodes, you say?
Yes.
Oh, God. All right. Well, I guess you could put up with anything for 3 more episodes.
There you go. Yeah, that's the spirit.
That's how I'm choosing to look at it.
That's the spirit that I like.
Yeah. It could be worse. That could be composted by an Earth Day founder.
It could be. This guy has new shoes, and he decided to post about them, and he kind of made like a little song about them, and I think it's quite good. And I think
he made shoes.
Well, no, he didn't make shoes. I think he has a new pair of shoes, and it's makes me really want to go out and buy them. So
okay,
bro, come over here. Check out my new shoes. They're the brand new
1, 2, buckle my shoe. 3, 4, buckle some more. 5, 6, Nike kicks.
Oh, that is so fire!
Is that you?
No, it's not. If I had the TikToks on hand, I would play it for the stream. But
that is the first Twit Talk I've heard since we've been doing this godforsaken thing. This godforsaken ritual segment, whatever it is, that I thought, oh, is this actually from Dan's Twit Talk? Is he trying to have his big break?
You thought I'd put my own submission in there?
Yeah. He's trying to slip it in there in case no one noticed.
They're the brand new
1, 2, buckle my shoe. 3, 4, buckle some more. 5, 6, Nike kicks.
You have problems.
And then there's a part 2 to this. Have you ever heard of the song Mambo No. 5?
I have.
Well, have you heard of Mambo No. 2?
I can't say that I have.
Now you have.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mambo No. 2.
I'm so scared right now.
1, 2, buckle my shoe. 3, 4, buckle some more. 5, 6, Nike kicks.
Oh, that is so fire!
1, 2, buckle my shoe. 3, 4, buckle some more. 5, 6, Nike kicks.
Yo, you gotta get on this beat.
One of the best things about having the producer cam, and I think I said this last week, people didn't appreciate how Dan handles this whole thing. He just doesn't play this to make you folks laugh at home. He plays it because he knows that I'm going to be mortified, horrified, whatever, and then he stares at me while it's playing to get the reaction that he wants. Oh,
Have you ever just wanted to?
You really have. Well, I don't even want to say what you are. I can't.
Have you really just wanted to let your inner kid out?
I do every week for 3 hours.
Okay.
I'm childlike on this show.
Well, then this guy.
Uninhibited.
Well, then this guy, I think you could relate to a lot.
Okay. We're getting closer to his return, and the closer we get to him, the faster things are going to happen. The faster the healings, the faster the deliverance, the faster.
Did a cat attack him?
No, it's him screaming.
That's a human scream?
Yes.
Oh, it sounds like somebody stepped on Howard Dean's tail.
Yeah!
How does a human male get to that pitch? Oh, man. I've been going to the wrong church all these years.
We're getting closer to his return, and the closer we get to him, the faster things are going to happen. The faster the healings, the faster the deliverance, the faster.
I also like how in that church, Jesus is like a pizza delivery guy that if he doesn't deliver in 30 minutes or less, you get your salvation back. Like the quicker the healings, the quicker the better the sales.
If Jesus doesn't come down in 30 minutes, you get to live.
We're 10 minutes from the rapture. Everything's 75% off.
And then Jesus comes down and it's him.
I'd imagine that's going to be the last sound we all hear. Could have told you that without hearing the clip. Oh, man. That's what I sounded like, by the way, when they wouldn't let me park my own car today. When you made me valet, yeah. Live footage.
So we all know about the Nike thing with Dylan Mulvaney, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're
your main man, Dylan.
Yeah, so they're in the midst of starting a new campaign with a trans man.
Well, because, not breaking news, I think it happened a couple days ago, the marketing chiefess
For Bud Light, yeah.
for Bud Light taking a leave of absence.
Yeah.
Transitioning to the unemployment line.
Yes.
It sounds like.
Yes.
Yes.
Nike took after the footsteps, obviously, but they're doing it once again, but they're signing a trans man.
Oh.
Do you guys want to read a joke?
It's a joke.
After sponsoring trans woman Dylan Mulvaney, Nike plans to sponsor a trans man. The new slogan, just grow it.
That snuck up on me there. I thought the punchline was going to be further out.
No, this isn't a Theo Von clip. Come on now.
Yeah, I know, right? Theo Von's at the end.
Yeah.
We all know how this works by now. Barney at the beginning, Theo Von at the end.
Yes. Now we're going to start going into a little bit of a weirder type thing.
Oh, we're not already strange enough.
No, this is
Because
what...
it's been so normative up until now.
Yeah, yeah. I don't even know how to describe this one. This is what
Not a good sign, Dan.
She refers to herself. This is what a fat bitch eats in a day.
This is what I eat in a day as a fat bitch. Let's go. So, of course, I started the morning off with my bagussi. This is a bagel.
It's a bagel.
Cream cheese and salami. As we all know, you need the extra cream cheese because the bagel itself is only a vehicle for the cream cheese and the salami. I then had me a Go-Gurt because them is fire, all right? And then I got myself a coffee. That's my order. And if you were my bitch that hooked me up at the Starbucks on DuPont in Fort Wayne, I love you. And I also got me a ham and Swiss on baguette, and that bitch was hot. You know what I mean? That bitch was... Yep. And then I forgot to record dinner and only took a shit. Good night.
Oh, boy, do I have the personal trainer for her. Right up her alley. That's just not a good connection. That's a love connection. We need to get them together.
Mind you, the bagel is just a vehicle for the cream cheese.
Which, by the way, I know this is supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
No self-respecting person, we talked about the pizza belt earlier, like the bagel belt, would feel that way.
Yeah.
In this part of the world, we are serious about our bread. We're serious about our baked goods.
Yes.
No one would ever say that.
No.
Who has any real taste in food.
No. Also, looking at the YouTube, I think we got a couple more viewers just because of Twit Talk.
No, I don't think that's what it is.
Hey, youtube.com/@1210WPHT.
Those extra people signing on are from Odyssey Legal because they want to know what they need to be prepared for this week.
Well, they're really going to have to
They
pay.
don't count. I mean, we will try to count them when we talk to Stalker, but I don't think he's going to go for it.
If Odyssey Legal's listening, they're going to have to watch out for Uncle Ron.
Uncle Ron here. I've been hearing all this talk about me being a simp. Yeah, I'm a simp. I'm a simply slamming your girl with this big old horse meat dick. And that's on God, baby girl.
Wow. You just hopped and skipped and jumped right over. And this is what I'm talking about, everyone. That he does this to make me uncomfortable. Because he's 22, I'm like 38, but actually mentally like 75. And he knows that this is going to make me blush.
That's enough of that one.
It says a lot for me, honestly, that I allow you to do this.
It
says a lot about my mental state.
I'm going to play a clip that I've played before because it came across my For You page again, and it's just too good not to play, if that's okay with you.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at Grieg because I'm watching YouTube now that I know Legal's listening. And he's been silent, I guess, and he says the spy balloon shut me down this last hour.
Yeah.
So, well, welcome back, Grieg. We're glad that China let you return.
Do you want to replay the clip?
Good.
You know, I was born with a rare body style. You know, the doctors, when I was born, some of the doctors said I had the rib cage of a large cat, and some of the doctors said I had the heart of a lesbian. That, you know, I had that ticker that wants to, you know, just be naughty and sometimes do something deviant.
Came across my page, guess what it did fit.
That's all of TwitTalk. You in there with your cat-sized rib cage. Heart of a hipster. That is the first time I've ever decided I need to fact-check one of your TwitTalks. Because I do not believe that's a human male. I don't think it's possible for that to come from a human male.
It did.
Unless the human male had been castrated and was being lowered feet first into a vat of acid. That's the only way you could get that sound.
That noise?
Yes. There's no way.
I'll show you the TikTok.
Producer
afterward.
Sean just walked into the booth. When this is over, I want him to listen to that.
I'll show you.
And see if he concurs.
I'll show you the video.
Okay. All right.
All right. Last one. Another Theavon, but
a new one.
Yes.
Okay.
Here's one thing that's just really boiling my beef. I mean, boiling my beef is when I'm going for a jog. And a jog, you know, you want to run, but you can't run because you're not that fast, so you jog. It's basically what white people started doing, because when black people started running, we were like, oh, we're not running, we're kind of jogging, so let's rename it. Because black people were fast, man. They used to have the Underground Railroad, bro. If you went on that, that's where Carl Lewis came from. But what I'm noticing is I'll go for a jog, right? Or what I call a white run. I'm passing other joggers.
Run.
Constituents, foot constituents. And they don't wave. If I'm running and you are also running and we pass by each other, and you know what? I'm out here doing my best, you're doing your best, you're not going to give me a hello, a peace, a thumb up. It gets me. That just gets my damn gander. It just gets my gander in a Gandalf, boy. And just, God dang it.
That's what I have for you on Twitter.
Did you say it gets my Gandalf?
Yeah.
Oh, Theo. Well, I am more horrified than usual on multiple levels, which is exactly how you want to end a show, right?
Yeah.
But that's how we do here on 1210 WPHT on The Matt Rooney Show every Sunday night. Thank you once again for joining us, putting up with us. Thank you, producer Dan. Thanks, Greek, and everyone who watched on our YouTube page. Until next week, stay safe, stay sane, and keep doing everything you can to fight for this greatest nation in God's creation. It's worth it.